It's the short bus Saturday. It's the short bus Saturday. It's the short bus Saturday. Short bus Saturday. It's the short bus Saturday. It's the short bus Saturday. It's the short bus Saturday. Short bus Saturday.
What's cracking, y'all? What's happening? I've been away for a while, you feel me? But I'm back! I'm back! First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to the haters, man. Hope y'all having a good afternoon, man. You're just not coming in, man. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button, man. Hit that bell notification button, please, man. And if you're so inclined, man,
share the damn video, bitch.
Share that video, man. Share it. Like it. Subscribe. And like I always do, I want to give a shout out to all the members of the Green Gorilla channel, man. The people who help me keep the bills paid, man. Shout out to Michael Ross, Brotherly Love, Daniel, No Sleep, Artisan MC, Damian H, Charles Rogers, Raiz Moajid, Divine Love Ridge, and Dub Will, man. Big up. Big up the 7th Coast Dojo, Blacksburg 404, Red Falls Black, Electrician 480, Sherlin Woe, Be Conscious Black Honey, Intuit, Shadow Observer, Stefan Jastek, Andre 416 Reform. Big up. Shout out to Jay Cleveland Green, Binger, Gerard Shelton, Hostile Adept, Dardar, An Honest Look at the End, Roderick Jackson, Cutting Up with the Jones, Zanco 1, Cornelius Bellamy, and Salty Balls. Big up. Shout out to Mike Johnston, Tel Toya, Wild Bear 50, Sunra 44, Barnolis, BGS Ibmore, Mantis on Break, Lock Vegas, BMROC, Passport OG, and Rasheed Barnes. Big up. Big up to Leon 8, Mr. Good Dad, Third Coast X, 63rd Samurai, Ishmael Shamad, The Watcher, The Ruthless Heartless Revelator, Kill the Gang, Dr. Thunder, Jason Hills, and Charles Finney. Big up. Shout out to Interesting Thought, The Silent Warrior, Naomi Gary, The Black Toxic Masculinist, Seek Truth, Larry R, Seth Son, Afro Troop TV, Show Me, Spain Man, and Anthony Davis. Big up. Shout out to I'm Just Jules, Ricky Dawson, True 7360, Mr. Me Too, Call for President, Gold Professor, AKs and Curtains, H-Town, Rogish the Billmonger, Adrian Thomas, and D. Scott. Big up. Big up to Path Guy 74, Pete Rock 496, Aaron P, Vince Lindsay, Quiz the Poet, Black Wizard ADOS, Troy Warren, Mrs. KP Bailey, Alan Wiley, The Face, and Life of Commerce. Big up. Also, man, shout out to AI Apostle, Jeffrey Speed, Marvin Battle Jr., Adam, Ignatz Mouse, Dr. Tree 33, 77 Base X, Brian McMurray, K. Ryan S., Rick Ross, Charles Gilmore 3, and Greg. Big up, man. Shout out to Barry Little, Mr. Valentino, Doc LaRock, Mark Swift, Odd Collar, Donald Watts, Coach DC, Mr. Blue Collar, TD Hip Hop Media, Drew Main, Mr. Heat, Sir Anthony, MLR, Universal 178, Aaron Smith, DH, A Double, Kalanja Collar, and W Pure 1. Big up, man. Also, can't forget the brethren, Kevin Samuels, Forrest Windu, and David Carroll, man. Big up, man. On the Patreon side, man, shout out to Dr. Tiasan Johnson, man. Chidu Berm Imari, Frank Black, Robert Wicks, Chris Flowers, Christopher Burton, Daxby the Tetrahedron, J Live, Keith Bass, Nick, Albert C, Dr. Ben Vincent, Waffle Weave, Excalibur, Preserve Prisoner, Taz, Dragon 59, Momal, and Asangwa. Big up to y'all, man. You deserve a round of applause as always. Thank you so much for supporting the Green Gorilla channel, man. And you too, if you enjoy the content, please consider becoming a member of the Green Gorilla channel, man. Here's how you do it. We'll be back with the business. What's good, everybody? I'm the G with a PhD, and you're tuned in to the Green Gorilla channel, the place where black men can express themselves freely, straight up, no chaser. Today, I want to introduce you to my new membership program that consists of 5 levels where you can invest in the Green Gorilla channel on a monthly basis and receive level-specific perks. Memberships are special because they improve the quality of the content of the channel and will help me to be able to keep the channel going. Now, to participate in the Green Gorilla channel membership program, all you have to do is hit the join button, which is located right next to the subscribe button on my channel page. Now, for all of my subscribers who decide not to participate in my membership program, nothing will change. The content will keep coming the way it always has. Thanks for watching, and be careful out here, people. Bless. All right, man, we back, man. You know who I am. I'm GG, man. Long time no see. And right now, I'm sipping on some liquor, lighting up a cigar, and about to talk to my niggas. What's cracking with y'all, man? What's happening? Shout out to Charles Faulkner, man. Shout out to Charles. But I brought a friend along, as you know, man. His name is Marcus Aurelius, also known as Keep It 100. What's cracking with you, dog?
Yeah, what's going on, man? Gonna have to get my icon together. What's going on, brother?
Man, I ain't doing shit, just chilling. Like I said before, I'm lighting up a cigar, Sipping on some liquor. About to talk to my niggas.
Right.
Yeah, get your icon straight, bro. What's cracking with you though? You good?
Yeah. There we are.
Shout out to
Yeah,
everybody
man.
out there, man.
Chilling, man. Just got back over here, got back out here. Did a stream last night. For all of y'all that was in the stream last night, shout out to y'all. Yeah, man. Just been flying a lot of places, catching jet lag. So that's why I haven't streamed. I owe some streams. Shout out to Adrian Hicks. I see you. Yeah, man. Yeah, for everybody that was on the stream yesterday, man. That was inspired. Well, number one, shout out to my man Nigel Morpheus. He probably will pop up in the chat at some point. But me and him were having a series of conversations and different things like that. Me going in and out of the country as of late, and seeing how things is happening over there, and then how we get treated when we leave the country versus when we get back here. Just a bunch of different things, man. And then not to get in too deep with this, but the whole idea of Pan-Africanism and all of that stuff, man. And it's like, no country for black men. You know what I'm saying? If you haven't watched the stream yet, you can check it out. It's up. You know what I mean? Check it out. No country for black men.
No country for black men.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I know one thing, man. This is a hell of a country for black men, boy. God damn, boy. It's a hell of a thing to be black in this motherfucker. It's a hell of a thing, man. Shout out to all the people out there in the chat. Mr. Donnie Mac, Indigo Flow, Grab Second Gear Eddie, Be About Peace and Pleasure, Adrian Hicks, Franklin Richards, Leon, Self-Son, Ignatz, Uncle Doobie.
Yeah, usual suspects,
Supreme Minister John Muhammad, Zimon Hetaron. I'm kind of having difficulty deciphering how to pronounce that, but shout out to that brother. Chance Rogers, I'm listening. Mac Drama Bear, Matrix Media, Vector, 313, Ron Matthews. How y'all doing out there today, man?
Yeah, man. What's going on, Leon? I see you, man. Self-Son 7, was in the building last night. Yeah, shout out to, Grab Second Gear, Indigo. I see you. Donnie Mac was popping. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, usual suspects is in the building, man.
Yeah, man, I've been gone for a little while. It's all to the good, though. Shout out to Robert Dalton. I see you out there. Let's get this shit started, man.
Yeah, let's rock.
You feel me? I'm going to make myself a little bit bigger, not because I believe I'm bigger, but you know how it go.
Nah, man, you think you bigger than niggas. Nah.
You think you better than me?
That's your motherfucking problem now.
Think you better than me, nigga. I hate you, man. I hate you, nigga.
That's all right. That's all right.
I hate you, man. Anyway, man, let's get this thing started, bro. You know what I'm saying? Let's get this show started, bro.
Let's pop. Let's rock.
Speaking of the black man in other places.
Black man, if you complain in America, you're wrong because you got help. They make sure you get a basic standard of living in America. Like I'm talking about the very, very bottom is a trailer or an apartment in the hood. That's better than Africa. The bottom there is outside, no AC, no electricity, barely no running water. That's their poor. Our poor has a flat screen, AC, free school with a bus coming to pick them up. Welfare, food stamp, Medicaid. That's a lot. Benefits, and we sit here and complain and say these ain't doing enough for us. America is stupid, believe it or not. We go back to Africa, if we go poor, we're poor. Now, do they have a middle class? Yes, but the difference is Africa has a very large poor class, very small middle class and wealth class, versus us, our biggest class is actually middle class.
Where the lie at? They ain't gonna let that video go viral. They're not gonna let this video go viral. It's too many facts. They want you to be a victim. They want you, my brother, to be a victim. They don't want you to be a victor.
Okay, so here goes the lie. This idea that every country outside of America is on some third world shit is bullshit.
You know what I'm saying? Man. Say it again.
Right. Look. Been to Japan at this point 6 times. 6 times. Okay. Ain't nothing third world about that motherfucker over there. Right? There's I've been to London, I've been a bunch of other places that's not third world. America is still upholding like this is, the Thomas Jefferson America. Like, it's been a long time since that shit. Like, there's places you can go outside of this country and get everything that old boy just mentioned and better. There are countries on this planet that have a higher standard of living than America. Now you might experience different problems over there. There's no way you're gonna go and experience no problems, right? Or different issues, whether they be problems or just issues, right?
Yes, sir.
But this idea that as soon as you leave here, you leave in electricity and central air and running water and all this other shit. Like, as soon as you leave here, and then, like my man Indigo was saying, he's saying the whole Africa, like the whole Africa is, straw roofs and mud huts and shit. And they need to stop, this is the lie that you're being told, that if you leave here, like the quality of life drops dramatically everywhere else you go. There's groups of people that will that refuse to live here because where they live is better. It's like, Trump is like, why we can't get some people over here from the Netherlands? Why just these shithole countries? Because your country has to be a shithole for you to want to come here. The Netherlands is not a shithole. This is a place, man, it's so fucking spotless in Japan, except for Shinjuku after the clubs closed. Then they got to clean the beer cans and shit like that up, But after that, it's pretty much spotless, man. New York is a shithole compared to Tokyo. And that's a New York nigga saying it.
Damn.
You understand what I'm saying?
Let me be scholarly here, okay?
We want you to be scholarly.
Look.
Go ahead, man.
I just remember a phrase you said a long time ago. Holler at your colonizer, man.
Right.
See, I'm not worried about what's going on in Africa, bro. That's not my problem, man. I care what's going on in Africa because I study it. I've attended conferences related to issues about Africa, about the diaspora, and so much more. But at this point, the whole idea that if you're a black man and you're in America and you're complaining about anything that occurs here in relation to elsewhere in the world, specifically, the parts of the world that are encountering deep-seated systemic issues and problems related to economics and infrastructure, fuck that bullshit. Fuck that, man. So that was some nigga shit. But let me get into the scholarly shit, okay?
Yes.
In my viewpoint, society is a system of social cooperation over time.
Mm-hmm.
And the distribution of benefits and burdens should be shared as much as possible by each citizen. And each citizen has a duty to do his or her fair share. And I'm really quoting from a segment of literature that I read to you by Tommy Shelby called The Dark Ghetto, okay? And ultimately, if we're not getting our fair share here, I care about what's going on there, but I'm talking about what's fair here. Fuck what's going on over there. Fuck that. If there's some injustice occurring here, it's a problem, and we should basically, resist against it. Now, there's a difference between absolute poverty, lacking access to basic necessities for long enough that it becomes health or life-threatening, and relative poverty. Okay? Now, one could argue that in the United States, there is a problem with absolute poverty on one hand, but also relative poverty related to other demographics, man. Right. There is no strange secret that there's a wealth gap between whites and blacks in this country predicated upon its history, man.
Right.
I'm not about to sit here and act as if this isn't a fact. It's a fact. Okay? It is what it is. Now, in my viewpoint, everybody should have the capacity, right, to have the ability to have a life to where they can function and flourish. And let's just be frank here, man. Like, this country has done a dismal job in ensuring that everyone has access so that they can function and flourish in this country, bro. It's just a fact.
Well, they've done a great job at denying access, which is the function. But you understand where I'm coming from.
I get exactly what you're saying. But to argue that, you know, like this is the best place ever for black men, that's a crock of shit.
What's old boy name that was in the video? I forgot his name.
Officer Tatum.
Yeah, Officer Tatum, yeah.
And look, I'm not saying that, you know, there aren't any boons or benefits to being American, but at the same time, there's some issues and some problems that have to be rectified. And you'd be a fool to not argue that these issues exist in order to compare and contrast your condition with the condition of people who are living in squalor and poverty. You know, like absolute poverty. That's fucking bullshit. But there are a vast majority of people who are living in absolute poverty in America, and definitely by far relative poverty, especially as it pertains to black men. This is just a fact. I've read all the studies, man. I'm not going to go into all of this right now, but I'm saying that's cap, bro. That video is basically, I don't know, man. For some reason, man, you got a group of guys in this country, man, who like to hug white people's knees and shit. And I mean, I don't care if you love I know I'm gonna piss people off with this, man. Look, I don't love the Republican Party, man, any more than I love the Democratic Party, bro. I just don't, man.
Exactly.
If that's what you want to be into it, man. By all means, go ahead and be into it.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not gonna get off no lies on me.
Right.
Let's not act like the ghettos weren't created because of all kinds of redlining, restrictive covenants, the denial of loans to, you know, black folks predicated on racial grounds, you know, block busting and all kind of shit. Like, we gonna act like that didn't occur and it didn't have an impact on the livelihood of people who live here. It's some bullshit, okay? There's concentrated poverty and there's concentrated disadvantage in certain kinds of neighborhoods, man. And we know that it was brought about by systemic injustices. I'm not about to play this game with these people, bro. Okay?
But see, let me give the chat some perspective. My bad for cutting you off, jumping in. Imagine someone finds a plot of land, they take that land. Then they kidnap you and make you build a house on that land. And after you build that house, they make you install the electric and the plumbing and all of that shit. They make you do all of that. They make you paint the walls and carpet the floors, and you know, then they order a bunch of furniture from IKEA, or you know, for y'all old school niggas, Finger Hut. Y'all remember Finger Hut?
That's a long time coming for that. Go ahead.
Right. The Finger Hut and the IKEA get to the house and you put all the furniture together. So now the house is built, the electric is working, the water's running, and the floors are carpeted and the walls are painted and the furniture is assembled, right? So now you get the TV, you lift the TV up out of the truck that they brought it in, you bring it into the house and you mount it on the wall. And then the person that kidnapped you and made you do all of this shit, they grant you the grace of letting you live in the house, right? And then you say, well, I'm thankful this person is letting me live in this nice house because other people are homeless and living on the street. And I'm better off than them, right? So thank you, sir, for kidnapping me and making me build this house, your house, and letting me live in it. That is what a coon sounds like to me. That's what that nigga sounds like to me. Like the white man came here, built this motherfucker, and then let us come here and bask in the ambiance of America. Now,
So look,
if that's how you feel, I'm gonna just end it off with this. If that's how you feel, that you're allowed to feel that way, like Gigi say. But that's how I feel about that sentiment. But go ahead, bro.
I know this is not really showing up big, so let me make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so here's just the facts of the situation, bro. In 2019, the median white household had $188,200 worth of wealth, man. That's 7.8 times that of the typical black household. 24 G's, which I guess is more or less accurate, an updated figure. And they go on to say it's worth noting that the levels of average wealth, which are more heavily skewed by households with the greatest amounts of wealth, are higher. White households reported average wealth of $983,400, bro. Which is 6.9 times that of black households, okay, with the greatest wealth, $142,000. While median wealth is more reflective of the typical household, the scale of the average wealth is indicative of the outsized levels of wealth held by the richest households, okay? And the black-white wealth gap today is a continuation of decades-long trends in wealth inequality. And, I'm not going to go into all of it, man, but we know what the reasons were, man, okay?
Well, it's also important to note that most of these households are ran by the women. A lot of these households that we're talking about, black households, are women ran, single women ran. Let's not leave that part out. And of course, that is also part of the discussion, but I just want to throw that in there. It's important to make that.
I'm just saying, look,
yeah.
Like KRS once said a long time ago, don't get me wrong, America's a great place to live, but listen to the knowledge that I give. Cocaine business controls America, contra business controls America. It's a whole bunch of shit that's, problematic in America. Now, if you argue that the only reason that the wealth gap exists is related to some moral failing on behalf of black folks, man, then I'm just going to really actually just say what it is, man. I'm going to say, it just is what it is, man. You cooning, bro.
I mean, cooning pays nowadays on the internet. I mean, I imagine his audience to be larger than most of ours. You know what I'm saying? Like, like the Coon twin brothers. These dudes, they know what they're doing. It's the same way Candace came up. These people learned there is a paycheck associated with that message, especially coming out of a black person's mouth.
Bruh, we're cooning. We're cooning. You remember that song from Levert, We Cooning?
Nah,
that's what
we cooning. Turn that into cooning, huh? Yeah, man.
So anyway, man, let's push on with this, man. You got a lot to cover, man.
No doubt.
Excuse me, do you live out of this car?
Actually, we both live out of the car.
Both?
Yeah, do you want to see?
Does a bear in the woods? Of course.
So this is my 2001 Toyota Camry. Bought her for $1,000 when I was 16. This is my friend Jack, my car mate. So this is where I make my food. I do not believe in ice. Ice, waste of bread. Have all my clothes here, dirty clothes. Shout out to Columbia for having a deodorized bag. I don't even know what that is.
Is this how you charge everything?
Just plug in the car, plug in my laptop and all my stuff.
How do you sleep in this thing?
We have to thug it out. Put my seat, it goes completely flat. This is how Ace sleeps, this is how I sleep.
So why do you live in a car?
It's crazy cheap and I'm going on a cross-country road trip.
How much do you spend a month traveling?
Ooh. Across the country and everything, I'm spending roughly around like $1,000 a month. just the memories alone is so worth it.
How do you make enough money to stay on the road?
So I actually make videos for companies, and I create them product videos and stuff like that. And
How do you work out of the car?
work?
Yeah.
Libraries.
All right, thanks.
Amen. Okay, very interested. Look, I've watched a ton of videos on like van life and RVs and stuff like that. I mean, I look out here where I'm at, yo, you see this type of stuff every day. People parked in Walmarts and this and that. Look, if you can make it work, I ain't even mad at it. You know what I'm saying? I tell people all the time, your biggest living expense is where you live. That is your biggest living expense. Rent or mortgage, right? If he's able to do that for a period of time and do it smart, don't just do it and be blowing bread. If you're going to do it and save money for a greater goal, it's a sacrifice. If you're going to sacrifice and do that, I would say do that for a greater purpose, not just on some get by shit or save money shit and put your money somewhere else, but do that, you know what I'm saying, for a period of time, so you can you stack your bread and you know, accumulate some assets. And that's what I would see the purpose for that being, right? But you know, is a lot of people think that these people are crazy, but not really. Oh,
I
by
just
the way,
show
the shower, just to answer the question at the bottom, he says, where's the shower though? You go to the gym. You go to the gym. You go to the gym, man, and wash up. But go ahead. I'm sorry, bro.
I just showed it to show a counterpoint to the prevailing, you know, ideology or the caricature of black men. Like, it's black men out here doing all kind of different shit.
Right.
And, you know, this kid looks like a wholesome kid, having the time of his life, traveling the fucking country, man, creating, like you said, creating memories that will last a lifetime. You know, and it's not the stereotypical portrait or portrayal of a black man as some sort of thug and a gangster running around, you know, being rapacious, smoking blunts, chasing, you know, bitches and, you know,
Right.
buying rims, you know, the guys that, you know, he's enjoying his life, man. Okay, he's young. He has the opportunity to, you know, uplift himself at some point if that's what he wants to do. But right now, he's just, you know, exploring, living like a hippie. Like white boys do this shit all the time. That's all. That's all I wanted to do, is just show it's a different. It's all black people are not the same, and the stereotype of all black men being the same is just erroneous. That's what I wanted to show that for. To juxtapose that there are black kids out here doing a whole bunch of different shit.
Another thing to take from this before we move on to the next thing, understand black men in particular. The opposite of what he's doing is faking it until you make it, right? You know, spending a bunch of money to look rich, but that keeps you from getting actually rich. What, you know, and you're right, G. You know, this is a different path, right? Like most of us understand money in the way of we get money, we spend money to look like we have money, so people won't look at us as broke. Because in this country, or better yet, shit, globally. Now, you know what? I'm gonna say in this country, because when you go across the waters, depending on what country you go to, you're seen as the American, not as the black person, right? Some places, right? But here, black skin translate as poor. So what black people do is they do their best to wash the poverty off them by buying expensive shit. You try to wash the poverty off you with gold chains and expensive jeans and Jordans and shit like that, because you have to wear your wealth to show that you're not poor because you're black. That is the social stigma. Yeah, what's up?
In which most people use consumer credit in order to purchase those items, which they buy at humongous interest rates, trying to keep up with the appearance of being wealthy. Okay,
right.
That's just what it is.
Right. So, you know, using, and you know, this is to speak to Nigel. I see Nigel in here. He says, "There's nothing wrong with it if one is happy or okay with it or at all, saving, etc. But if you have to, big difference. And I agree with you. I don't think these guys that we just looked at are in a situation where they have to live in their car because the guy's making an income. There are places to live in this country that are super cheap, and you can be on the internet and do your internet job and get your internet money. But what he said to us, at least in the video, is, yo, we're traveling. I don't want to create a narrative that is different than what a man told me his agenda is out. He said out of his own mouth. Like, I don't want to say, oh, he's lying. That's not what he's doing. He has to live in his car because he's poor. It looks to me like they have some sort of plan. It doesn't look to me like they dingy or dirty. The clothes in the trunk is clean, and my man got a laptop and he's getting it popping. If it's a strategic thing that they're doing, I have no issue with it. And that's what you're saying, Nigel. So I get it. But I'm just saying, like, I think that at times, in order to get, some yardage in this this society that we're living in that's trying to keep us back, certain sacrifices at times must be made. And people want progress with no sacrifice. Sometimes people want to stay living in abundance, spending money, but then they want to progress at the same time. And you hurt your own progress by doing that, because you can't use all your resources at the same time while gaining yardage. It doesn't work. Something has to be sacrificed.
If outgo exceeds income, upkeep will be a downfall, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely, bro.
It just is what it is. I don't care if you're making $100,000 a year. You're high value, whatever. If you're spending $150,000 every year, but you're only making $100,000, well, that's a problem. Because your outgo is exceeding your income. Doesn't matter. You could be living wealthy, but be only making 40 G's a year, but you only spending 25 G's.
Right. And these a lot of this type of stuff, man, and shout out to Mr. Donnie Mac. Like, in the 2 high value videos that I had on my channel, I spoke about this. The thing is, nobody wants to get rich slow. That's quoting Warren Buffett. And nobody wants to sacrifice. Everybody wants to live rich while becoming rich. And it's very difficult to do that unless your name is Big Meech Larry Hoover. Okay?
And look, let me just say this, man. In terms of my own views, I used to be like, I was a prep school kid, so, I had to have polos and shit. You know what I'm saying? The shoes I had, we couldn't wear sneakers to school or gym shoes. If you're a Chicagoan, you don't call them sneakers or, tennis shoes or whatever. But I had to have Cole Haans and shit. You know what I mean? I had to have the leather bomber jacket. Now, most of this shit we was taking for the white boy. We just take they shit. Man, give me that bomber jacket, motherfucker. You don't need that. Which is fucked up, okay? It's fucked up. Okay?
AG, you had HBO in the 80s, man.
No, I did not.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure. Everybody that watched my stream last night gonna probably laugh, man, because you said you was a prep school kid. And I had to ask you had cable TV in the 80s, man? Because if you did, man, you had it, man. You was good. You was well off, nigga. No, we know before Cablevision and Optimum and Comcast and all this other shit. If you had HBO, you had WHT in the 80s, nigga, you was rich, nigga.
Well, I mean, we didn't even get cable in St. Louis until the late 80s. We didn't even have it. But I mean, we did eventually get it, you know what I'm saying, when it was available. But in terms of, we had Betamax and we had the VHS and shit. We had Laserdisc, you know what I'm saying? We had Blockbuster accounts, so we wanted to watch some fucking movies. That's how we watched them. Showtime, I think, was one of the first cable service channels that we could get. And when we had access to it, we watched the shit. You know what I'm saying? We had it. You know what I'm saying? So my uncle had cable in New Orleans in the 80s, you know what I'm saying? But like my mom and my stepfather they was like, fuck that shit. We don't need to watch that bullshit.
That's like if you had a cell phone in the 90s, you was getting it.
I had a cell phone.
Niggas have money.
I had a cell phone in the 90s, nigga. I had
you had to sell all this, nigga.
I had the beepers and all that shit, nigga. I had all that in college, my guy.
This nigga had a cell phone in the 90s and cable in the 80s, man. Yo, G ain't one of us, man. This nigga was paid, man. I just
Hey, man, I used
exposed
to-
this nigga. I just
Dog,
exposed him.
I was, man, hey, look, I was getting it when I was, man, in college, man. I was a DJ, dog, a lifeguard, and I worked at a place called the Fudgery, nigga. I was flipping fudge for a living, nigga. You had to
This nigga
sing
had
songs.
the
It's a Sambo job, it was. I ain't gonna lie, because, you know, you had to sing songs and shit like, I guess you'd say what can make me feel this way. Hot fudge.
You was singing at the
Talking
restaurant?
about hot fudge. Hot fudge. We be flipping the fudge,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Singing songs and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? It was fun job for a college kid, though. So I was a lifeguard, I was a DJ, and I worked at the Fudgery, you know what I'm saying, throughout my college years.
That's that Drew Hill shit, man. You was on your Cisco shit, man.
Hey,
Don't
man.
tell me you had your shit dyed blonde, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Tell me you had your shit dyed blonde, nigga.
Hey, man, I was out there, man, making white people say, yeah, boy. I say, y'all want some fun? Say, yeah, boy. And they, you got to move your hands, because we would give out samples of the shit, you know what I'm saying? And so if people, you know, follow or mimic your actions, you know, you could hand it out how you wanted it to, But, you know, it's just a fun little job for a youngster, man. And I remember when I auditioned for it, she was like, okay, let me see you perform. I was like, huh? Do something. I said, well, I can rap. Well, let me hear a rap then. I went on in the rap mode. She was like, okay, you're hired.
For all y'all,
You know what I'm
hey,
saying?
for all y'all niggas that had the walkie-talkie size cell phones in the 90s, man. Fuck y'all, man. Niggas sitting in the classroom with a big goofy cell phone, man, with the antenna on it. Fuck
But
y'all
I tell you
niggas,
this, though, the biggest money I made by far was DJing, dog. I mean, minimum $50 an hour. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, if I'm doing this shit, I want $50 an hour. So if that's 4 hours, that's $200. It all if it's a large party, though, I want like 300, 500 to 500, all depending on who the client is. You know what I'm saying? So, and I DJ'd a whole bunch of parties on campus, you know, or like beer blasts or patio, you know, shows and shit like that. So, man, I stayed paid. I stayed paid, bro. I was getting it. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, let's move on to the next one, man.
All right, no doubt.
9 to 5, but he barely making. He make $1,000 a week. That's nothing.
$1,000 a week is a lot of money.
I now understand why this new generation does not want to date at all. Come here, because it seems incredibly tiring, right? There's so much pressure involved. Relationships nowadays seem more transactional than they do actually romantic, right? Because $1,000 a week is actually a good amount of money. That's $4,000 a month. And for one person, that's not bad at all. Now, to sustain two people's way of living off of that, that won't work, but that shouldn't be the case in the first place, right? When it comes to relationships, you should want to date somebody that makes you feel loved, respected, and feel safe and protected, and you can build a future with, right? You should want to spend money on your partner because you want to, not because it's obligatory, because it isn't, right? In this economy, if you're looking for somebody to just pay for everything, you're not looking for a partner, you're looking for a caretaker. And I'm pretty sure if you tell anybody, hey, do you want to be in a relationship where you just pay for everything? I don't think they want to do that.
Just sell pussy. Just sell pussy. I mean, this is why I've been telling girls on Facebook for years. You know, I pop up on one of these posts, girls be like, you know, don't be texting me, what are you doing when I got all the, you know, they list their bills and shit. I jump in, I just say, just sell pussy. Just sell pussy. Because that's what you're doing. You know, all this roundabout, indirect, bullshit. Just sell pussy. Just say, hey, look, man, I give you the pussy, you give me the money. But you know what they want to do? You remember, I don't know if anybody old enough to remember this cartoon, right? One of Brothers Looney Tunes shit. You remember this, G. Chow Hound, right? Chow Hound was the dog running around with the one cat collecting rewards for everybody's missing pets, and then he'll pull a string and pull them back. See, what girls want to do is they want to promise you the pussy without giving it to you, but still get the money. So they don't want to fuck for money. They want to get the money because you think they're going to fuck you. but they gonna yank that pussy back with that string as soon as you pay for that date. You gonna take them to Benihana's, you gonna take them to fucking Roof Chris, and you think they gonna fuck you, they ain't gonna fuck you. You know what I mean? Then you gonna be telling the story about how you got played, and they gonna be telling their girl a story about how they ate for free.
Man,
Trust me, it's niggas out here that y'all been the subjects of women's stories to their girlfriends laughing at you because you think you know, oh yeah, I bought that bitch Roof Chris. She over there talking about, that nigga bought me Roof Chris.
Is that really all that expensive though, Roof Chris? But anyway, look.
For a first date, absolutely, yeah. For a first date.
My whole viewpoint on this shit is this, bro. I'm just tired of broke ass black women demanding that a nigga man be having big banks and shit to spend and blow on their ass, man.
Yeah, she ain't even worth that money.
I mean, like if I re-roll the tape on this chick, man, and get to the point where look at this chick, man. Hold on, man.
Yeah, the chicks that be saying this shit, man, it's just funny.
Hold on, man. Let me hold on, man. Look, man, look.
9 to 5, but he didn't.
This chick look like she balling, man, making about 2 G's a week, man. Real talk. No disrespect, man.
Forget what she make. Do she look like a nigga making that would prize her? Like the nigga that's making that money would chase that. That's the question. Would a nigga making 1-2 grand a week be fucking with her as his main joint that he's walking down the Ave with? Like, yo, this is me right here.
Man, I know it wouldn't be me. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, come on, lady. Just keep it 100, man. Nobody's about to blow a wad on you, lady. Nobody about to do that, man. I'm just keeping it a buck. And why are you demanding that a man be able to do that for you anyway in this day and age when y'all demanding all this damn gender equality and shit?
Right.
And you have the ability to work. I just don't understand it, bro. But on to the next, man.
Right.
On to the next, bro.
Uh-oh. My man said her weave looks like
let me
a
just
helmet.
go to the hood nigga, because the hood nigga already gonna go above and beyond when he comes to a girl like me, because he's gonna appreciate what I bring to the table versus a good guy who knows he has all these options. He's gonna take me for granted. So I'll just go to the hood nigga who gonna, you know what I'm saying, take me on the adventure I deserve.
Shout out to the angry man.
Shout out to angry man. So here you got something that contrasts with what the first lady said. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, if I date the guy that's making big bank, he's not gonna really actually treat me like a queen. I'm gonna be like regular schmegular to him. So I'm gonna date the hood nigga. He's gonna take me on the adventure I deserve, which I guess the exciting thug life, I guess. What is this, man?
Yo, chicks, let me tell you, a lot of this shit is kind of like what niggas do, right? Before I get into the nigga side of it, chicks, they set their sights on the guy who they can get and what they can get from him. In other words, like it's really based on their option, right? So the first chick talking about, oh, a dude got to make this amount of money and blah, 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 blah. And I doubt very seriously that she done dated a nigga doing all that. The other chick talking about, the hood nigga is gonna spend this money on him. This is how I'm perceiving it. Like, the hood dude is gonna give her everything because he ain't got the options that the well-to-do dude has, which is kind of what a lot of us have been saying. In order for you to get that well-to-do, got his shit together dude, you got to be the chick that not only that he wants, but is challenging for these chicks. They have to uphold the standard to be that man's woman that they don't have to uphold for the hood dude. You understand what I'm saying? The hood dude ain't making that many demands on certain things. They just need you to have a fat ass and that's it. But So it's easier to be that man's woman. But in that, at least in that context, because the other thing that comes with fucking with these hood dudes is all the shit that women complain about and then blame all niggas for. You know, nigga get your whip shot up, like 11 bullets fly your way, and you get either killed because of this nigga or by this nigga or whatever. Then, you know, now black men, including the well-to-do nigga that you avoided, is killing y'all at some epidemic rate. You know what I'm saying? Like, get the fuck out of here. If y'all want, if girls want to choose these niggas for whatever exciting or tricking or whatever, then own the shit that comes with it and say that those are the types of niggas that comes with. Don't say black men. Don't say black men, because when you talk all the good shit about, oh, the thugs got the good dick and the thugs this, ooh, a thug, all this positive thug shit, thug, we love the thugs, yada, 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 yada. Then that's great. But then when that thug nigga do this shit to you, and Nigel, I hope you hear me talking, bro. When that thug nigga do that shit to you, you don't say a thug nigga did it to me. You don't say the thug nigga slapped the shit out of me. The thug nigga, you know, damn near killed me within an inch of my life. You don't say that. You say black men. So now you're putting what the thug did on everybody, but you putting only positive shit on the thug. And we know that black culture celebrates the thugs.
Which brings up the next clip.
Let's do it.
So you gonna call my probation officer?
Man, don't start with me, Michael. I don't have time for this.
What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with me?
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
How you gonna sit up here and cheat on me?
You over here lying already.
That's all right. You can go ahead and rot in prison where you belong with your cheat.
So you wanna go show out for them, huh?
Whatever. You want me to show out for who? For who? For who? The internet that you brought in here in this argument?
Well,
Tell them what you did.
But you over here lying.
I'm lying?
Yeah, you over here call my probation officer for what?
For what?
What did I do?
For what? Stop cheating on me. Stop. It's okay, buddy. It's annoying.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
And baby,
okay.
Whatever mama gotta say, she gonna be lying.
I'm lying?
Don't even trust her
I'm
right
lying.
now. Yes, you are lying.
Your daddy.
On my name.
And if a man cheats on you, you don't pay nothing for him. You put him out. You send him back to prison. You don't have to deal with this.
What the fuck, man? What the fuck is going on here, man?
I want you to think about this, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, women they triangulate the criminal justice system and use it against black men. Real talk, man. And a lot of women want to date men who are in these compromised positions so they have some form of leverage over them. Now, one could argue it's immoral if you're in a relationship and you've made a commitment to be with that individual and you go out and fuck somebody else. Okay, it's immoral. You broke a moral code, okay? Doesn't mean that, you know, you actually have broken the goddamn law. Or if you're dating a thug nigga and this nigga's breaking the law, oh, now all of a sudden he did something you don't like, so now what, you gonna put the nigga in prison? You're gonna tell his probation officer and shit.
Right, especially when 9 times out of 10, them laws that were getting breaking were benefiting you in one way or another. Which is why you fucked with him in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
But now, I'm gonna tell Zaddy on you.
Cause you out of line, nigga. You out of line.
I'm gonna tell Zaddy on you. I'm telling. But we don't act like this is daffy dancing behavior. That's some coon shit. To me,
know, the male feminists of YouTube will tell you that these women are calling these zaddies with badges because of abuse. Right? I ain't gonna say no names, but these male feminists of YouTube will say that's what their argument is. Well, the reason why they calling these cops and the reason why, or the reason why they're abusing black men, because remember, the stat on domestic violence was largely leaning towards women being violent towards men in the black community. You remember, you know this, right?
Bro, I only have to show this.
It's about a black woman who can't walk down the street in safety. I lived in Boston for 9 years. In 1979, 12 black women were murdered in a 4-month period in Boston. I lived in Roxbury. That is a black community in Boston. What did it mean to me and to every black female and black man in Boston that 12 black women were murdered precipitously during that period? That's what black feminism is about, to try to explain that.
I'll tell you what, Jet Magazine, which I read every week.
I do too.
And which is very reliable, published some Justice Department statistics that show that more black men are being killed by women than the other way around.
Oh.
Now, when I say that, the feminists get emotional. They say, well, that's not true. Or it must have been because of self-defense. But I think that men should stop killing women.
They should stop killing each other.
Women should stop killing men.
And black men should stop killing each other,
too. And one should not be singled out as the repository of all evil in the world. And I think we agree on that.
Right. So she had no rebuttal for that shit. Nothing that made sense.
This is one of the founders of the Combahee River Collective, Barbara Smith. And I always like to demonstrate and show the statistic. Like, I mean, all these women continuously talk about, the black feminists specifically, they talk about how, you know, black women are subjected to danger from black men. But the reality is, and I'm going to share the screen again, and I always have to show it. I know it's redundant, but between 1976 and 89, more black men were killed by their wives than black women were killed by their husbands.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they say by 1990, the order was reversed. Okay, but this was before that show took place before the 90s. Okay?
Right.
Or roughly around the early 90s. Okay, but the whole, and all of these theories about black men's violence and, you know, their pathology and, you know, their abusiveness, all of this was seated at a time at which black women were killing the shit out of black men. So how do you really actually make sense of the argumentation? I'm going to tell you how. You make sense of it by arguing that black men are doing what white men are doing. That's how you do it. You get black women taking white feminist talking points and trying to apply their theory to black men.
Right.
And it doesn't work.
The white man, yeah, it doesn't work because we are not in the white man's position to enact all this shit. The only thing black men can abuse, but we cannot oppress. Those are not the same things. We cannot oppress. Okay, we don't affect the hiring practices and all the shit that, you know, women want to talk about, you know, unfair wages. Black women want to complain to black men about Roe v. Wade and everything that we ain't got shit to do with. That's the dumbest shit in the world. Like, how the fuck you gonna come to us about that? I'm looking for this chart that I had, man. You know, one and
Adrian Hicks, absolutely, bro. Absolutely. And what's left out of that, what's left out of this is the violence fomented among black men by women that's never ever fucking discussed. Okay? That should be also noted because they create, like, I remember, you got to be careful who you running with, man. Because 9 times out of 10, if it's some violence popping off, man, it's set up by some chick. Niggas getting at each other, shooting at each other and shit over some pussy. But we can't even talk about that.
See,
or the honor of some woman or something. You know what I mean?
You know, and Adrian, shout out to Adrian, because we speak on the regular. The thing about doing that, because I've been in conversations with women that have done that. Well, black men kill other black men. That means you ain't the fucking target. That means black men are the larger victim. Period. It doesn't. There's a small group of men that actually kill. You know, the small group of black men, smaller group of black men, or any demographic that are actually violent to that degree. Those people are not the majority of society. They're the smaller group. So if that smaller group of people are killing more men than women can't complain about being some target unless you want to push some ideology or an idea that black women's lives or women's lives, period, are more important than men's lives, which is really the underlying thing. Like, well, yeah, you know, niggas get killed too, but you know, what we need to focus on is the deaths of women, even in smaller numbers. That is an all lives matter argument that black women are making. If they want to make their deaths, you know, by homicide a bigger or even an equal issue to black male homicide. I told y'all before, top 10 causes of death. Black men are the only ones with homicide on their top 10 causes of death in this country. The only demographic with homicide in their top 10. If you don't believe me, for any woman that's listening to me talk, you know, your maids or whoever, go and look it up. Yeah, but they're being killed by men. Okay, so while those men are killing men, they're not killing your ass. And that's the point. That a much smaller degree of women are being killed, period. But my man pointed out that the shit was flip side. More women were killing men, but nobody wants to talk about that shit.
Of course not, because it doesn't fit into the narrative. And then, by the way, I must explain. Like, if you're looking to understand a phenomena, you don't take something out of context in order to make your point more prevalent, or more substantial in terms of its persuasiveness.
Right. Black
men killing each other has nothing to do with the interaction between black men and women in intimate partner situations. It just doesn't.
Right.
But the argument is that because black men are violent to each other, that it translates into that they're innately violent to them.
Right.
Which is some bullshit.
Which, yeah, okay? Is totally not true.
It's an entirely different phenomenon predicated upon an entirely different set of circumstances. Okay? But I would ask any black feminist, explain the data. Explain why it is the case that between 1976 and 89, more black men were killed by their wives than black women were killed by their husbands.
I'll tell you.
Explain that shit. I want you motherfuckers to explain it.
I'll tell you what's already been said, and we've debated the clowns already. These motherfuckers will say that they killed their black husbands in response to domestic abuse. Now, gee, you remember this. Again, I ain't saying no names. We debated this clown already, and that was his argument, that those murders were in response to domestic disputes or domestic abuse perpetrated by those men that died, and they deserve to get killed.
And then my response to that is, the data doesn't even support that. Do I have to go pull up the fiber shit? Let me pull up the fiber shit. Fiber.
And while you do that, I'm gonna read Franklin Richards. He says there's a video of a bisexual man yelling at his fiance who doesn't want to marry him. I saw a woman in the comments say if he yelled at her like that, she would knock his teeth out. How about this, Frank? We all seen the video of the woman who ran her ex over with a car because he didn't want to marry her. You understand what I'm saying? There's actually truth to the argument that black men, first of all, black men is already a stat that, you know, we experience more violence and deaths dealing with black women than any other race of women, just like they would make the argument that dealing with us causes more deaths among them. You understand? But you would think that shit is only one way because they only promote it one way. Go ahead. You got that up?
I'm about to bring it up now.
Right. So, you know, you see a guy get hit by a car by a woman who, you know, couldn't take him leaving her, rejecting her. And these women in the comments will make every explanation or rationalization as to why that man deserved to get hit and killed by that car. But no matter what, you can't even slap a bitch in the face. No matter what.
So peep game, man. This is an annotated bibliography published by Martin S. Fibert, who at the time, I suppose, was a professor at California State University, Long Beach. Okay? This is an annotated bibliography, and the abstract is as follows. This bibliography examines 343 scholarly investigations, 270 which are empirical studies, 73 which or reviews and or analysis which demonstrate that women are as physically aggressive or more aggressive than men in their relationships with their male or spouses or male partners. The aggregate sample size in the reviewed studies exceeds 500,000. That's a humongous sample size, okay?
Oh, yeah. Bigger than most of the shit that we read. Well, go ahead.
So, I mean, look, the shit is readily findable on Google. All you have to do is Google Martin S. Fiber, annotated bibliography, violence, assaults by women. Okay? It happens, okay? So to argue that, all that argument is this. Women are fighting back. They never fight. They never initiate violence. It's fucking bullshit. It's bullshit. And, by the way, as I always do, I got more facts. Okay?
The bottom line is that in partner violence and domestic violence, women assault their partners. About the same percent of women assault their partners as men. It's not the same percent are not injured. Women are more often injured. But that doesn't change the fact that women attack as often as men.
No, I'm not going to show that part. But I am going to go to Mississippi Delta guy. Shout out to him, man, by the way, man. Shout out to him, man.
Here we go.
It's time for some honors, man.
Let's go.
I'm from the M.I. Crooked letter I. Crooked letter I. Humpback guy. Said, bitch, I'm a demon, just look in my eyes. You don't wanna die. Chopper gon' blow in this motherfucker fire. I told my nigga, let's go and let's ride. Nigga won't play and that motherfucker died. That motherfucker died. Cause I'm from the M.I. Crooked letter I. Crooked letter I. Humpback guy. Said, bitch, I'm a demon, just look in my eyes. Say, I'm down the ride. Chopper gon' blow in this motherfucker fire. Pussy, you play, motherfucker, you die. That's on the gang and that's on the gas. Pussy, you play, watch that motherfucker ride.
Offside.
Shout out to Mississippi Delta guy, man. Look, I don't know how many people are watching, man, but you got about 170 watching. I don't know how many likes I have, man. Please get the likes up, man. I'm trying to get to can I get to 10,000 subscribers, man? Can I get some love, man?
Hey, post that Michael S. Fiber shit. Post that link, man. We need that link, man.
Okay, man. I'm gonna look it up right now, man. Fiber. Martin. It's not Michael.
I pulled them up already, man, but you know, I got them up here. Psychology. I just typed in his name. I ain't typed in the specific study, man. But yeah, man, we're gonna have to circulate that so that motherfuckers can randomly hit bitches in the head on social media with that shit for talking shit.
All right, I got the link right here, man.
Controlling domestic violence against men. Here we go.
Copy. Okay, I'm coming to StreamYard. This is not, look, I say this. If you're going to ameliorate a problem, you have to assess the problem accurately without ideology. You have to assess the phenomena that's occurring accurately. Like, it's like going to the dentist and pretending, that you don't have a cavity because, there's some other alternative explanation that's more popular and that prevails in the popular culture.
Right.
But you hope to eliminate the cavity, but you can't eliminate it because nobody wants to fucking tell the truth about what the phenomena is. And it's not that men don't do it. Men do it. But women also do it, and we act as if they're just fucking innocent.
And equally, let's put that out there. And equally, I've said it before. It's not that they start just about as much fights, if not more fights. They just lose more fights. They lose more fights. They start
because
fights, they don't win.
Because they can't win the fight, they feel like they're oppressed by not being able to whip your ass
right
unabated.
Right. And then if they do beat your ass, then you're a weak nigga and everybody laughs at you and nobody points to, oh, this is abuse. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. I hate it here. I do.
So the word for the day, like my man said, Indigo Flow, ameliorate. To make better. If you knew better, you do better. If you knew better, you would ameliorate your situation.
Sound like some pimp shit. You the ameliorate, baby.
Hey, let's ameliorate. Let's not hesitate to ameliorate.
I like
You
you, Willie,
understand?
but you got to have vision.
No, I have to state that in order to compensate, we must ameliorate. Don't hesitate, baby. Anyway, man.
Can you dig it, baby?
Can you dig it? Let me remove this shit, man. Stop the screen, man. Stop that.
Ameliorate.
Anyway, let's move on to the next subject matter, man.
No doubt.
Did you have any sexual contact with any of your 3 daughters? You said no. And the lie detector said there was no deception.
Look at this. Somebody come look at this.
Miss Yvonne took a lie detector test. Did you make up or exaggerate any stories with the intention to harm Monzel? She responded no, and the answer was deceptive.
You're a victim.
Did you say something to the effect of, I'm gonna make sure you're never happy again? She responded no, and the answer was deceptive.
Why didn't you fight for him harder if you knew you
Excuse
didn't do
me.
it?
Something is wrong with you. Then for this dusty bitch to say, why didn't you fight for them harder? You're lucky he didn't fight you. You're lucky that you're still fucking breathing on this earth. Are you joking?
The audacity that had the nerve to sit here and say, why didn't you? No, bitch. Why did you lie in the first place?
Why did you fight harder? That's when the slap would have came. No matter what, Marcus, you ain't supposed to slap. It's too late. Slap the bitch.
Man, just think about it, bro. This woman basically said that her baby daddy, man, molested her children because she was mad at the nigga.
Right.
But we act like black women don't triangulate the motherfucking criminal justice system and employ it and weaponize it against black men. You're lying.
But let Umar tell it. That's Snow Bunny. See, Umar and pro-black nationalist motherfuckers like to pretend that the only time this happens is outside of the community to black men. Like if you go somewhere else, this is what's going to happen to you, right? But if you stay here, you'll be just fine, right? Snow bunny, right? That's what the snow bunny's going to do to you. That's what the Asian woman going to do to you. That's, but the black woman, she'll never lie on you because believe black women, right? Believe. B-L-E-E. Believe, nigga. Believe black women. The fuck out of here. Then she says, you should have fought harder. Imagine telling a sexual assault victim, because I don't want to say the other word, an assault victim, a sexual assault victim, bitch, you should have fought harder. You must have wanted the dick.
Hey, bro, at the end of the day, man, you got to think about this shit, man. You done brought the full weight of the state down on this man in the most pernicious of ways. Because one could argue, like, when it comes to the criminal justice system, there's nothing more fucking inexcusable and pernicious and pathological than sexually assaulting a child. So you threw the weight of the system on this motherfucking man.
Right.
And then you ask, well, why didn't you fight harder? Bitch, you are a fucking piece of shit. Bottom line, you're a piece of excrement, man. You're a filthy piece of shit for that.
And no matter how many examples we have of this, it's like Manosphere, Manosphere, whatever Daily, I forget the name of his channel. How much proof do you need? How much proof do you need? No matter how much proof we show motherfuckers of this shit, we wrong for showing the proof. It ain't even about what we say about women. It's about us showing the world their behavior in real time. Video, audio, we show it. Look what they doing, what they saying. Oh, y'all wrong for that. Thank you. Manosphere Highlights Daily. Shout out to him.
I want you to think about this, man. And recently, I had like an Asian friend of mine, man, a colleague who graduated from the same graduate school I did, do a show with me. And he got an email from a black woman that was like, you're bashing black women. You sat there and let it happen. Like, And then the woman also, in addendum to, I guess, that kind of messaging, said that, like other men are watching what you're saying and doing, and they're going to deal with you. Come on, man, bitch, please.
What other men?
I hope you watch this video. I hope you're watching now.
What other men is gonna deal with?
I mean, I want you to think about this shit. Other men are watching. What the fuck? Hey, man, look, I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't. But I don't give a fuck if he's brown, yellow, white, or black. Don't fuck with me, bro. Because I will send you to the essence, man. Real talk. Not because I want to, because I have a right to protect my own life, preserved by natural law. You got other men that are going to deal with us. Who the fuck do y'all think y'all are? This the shit that, look, let me say this shit. I want it to be known. I said this a long time ago. I'm going to say it now. Any group of women, man, that would curse the fruit of their own wombs is fucking psychotic. Now, I've said it before. Both men and all I'm trying to do is set the record straight. I'm not trying to bash black women undeservedly. Now, if they deserve to be bashed, which means if they deserve to be critiqued, they deserve to be critiqued. But the problem is, you think you can critique us with no counter arguments or any counter narrative being posed whatsoever. We're just supposed to just promote the narrative you promote and just say whatever the fuck you say we have to say in order to get along. Oh, you gotta go along and get along. If you don't reiterate what we say, then somehow you hate us. So I'm gonna reduce any critique you have of me to some sort of misogynoir. Fuck that shit.
Let me tell you, one of the greatest con jobs ever pulled by black women is convincing niggas that every black woman is somehow representative of their mothers, because we understand how men feel about their mothers. So what you do is you connect black women to men's moms to get them to react as they would if you were attacking their mother, right? So what if it was your mother? Well, what if it's your mother and your mama black and all this other, gaslighting, psychological bullshit? What they do is they invoke the spirit or the idea of your mother in every black woman that will have you defending strange bitches on the street, that'll have you killing the next nigga over some bullshit. That he talked to me this way and looked at me this way. He talked about me, because it's the equal of saying you said your mama, you said something about your mama, or he hit your mama. What would you do if I was your mama? So once
you're not
right,
hey,
but
bro.
you're not. But you have to right. You have to groom these motherfuckers to think that every black woman walking on at least in North America represents mama. And now black men will react as if it's mama, even though it ain't, but they have been taught that it is. All black women are your mama, and you must handle this as if your mama was attacked. And that's what that's a lot of this proxy violence is. A lot of that shit is based on that. It's based on mama. But these women, and I said this last night, these women will also be the first ones to tell you that they ain't your mama. So they ain't cooking for you. They ain't serving your plate. They ain't doing this. They ain't doing that, because they want niggas to mommy them. But they want that mama love. They want that mama treatment. They want that mama reaction to disrespect. That's what they want. And that's why you see even a lot of the mothers are sick in their sons on niggas.
Look, let me just say this shit, right? I just wanted to also be known that the prevailing familial situation of most black men is single black mothers, man. And where they develop their imprints for violence, emotional expression, and characteristics and behavior, it comes from their fucking mothers, man. A lot of it, not all of it. I'm just saying, look, I love my mother, man. she's deceased. I would never spread any maliciousness about her or anything like that, but my mother believed in whipping ass for childhood infractions. Now, some people disagree with this, but Charles Murray, who I showed earlier, he also says that there's a link between intimate partner violence and childhood discipline. Now, if it's the case that, you got a group of single mothers who are raising black boys and they believe in whipping ass, it's no strange secret that those boys, they might grow up to believe that whipping ass is a way to handle infractions or improper behavior in their own lives when they reach adulthood. But we can't have a conversation about that shit either. But I digress, man.
Not today, but I would say abuse and discipline is two different things. And I think what happens in a lot of these situations is, especially with these mothers we talking about, these men, these boys are experiencing abuse, not discipline. So those guys that are, becoming violent in their adult lives behind the abuse is not because they were disciplined or they received corporal punishment when they were children. It's because they got whipped with all type of weird objects, right? They got burned with the iron. They got whipped with the motherfucking switch on the off the tree and all these other weird things, because mothers tend to beat their sons when they're angry. Men fathers handle the children differently when it comes to discipline and punishment. And this is some shit that we know. That's why fathers raise better children than mothers do. And I dare anybody to counter that statement.
But having said all that, I want to move on to the next one.
I'm just saying, let's.
But shout out to Andre, 416 Reformed. I think that used to be for Andre for life or some shit. He changed the whole handle and moniker. But sup, Gigi, just woke up to the flatback, which means a white chick with no ass, I assume. Mississippi Delta guy put me on, brother. I'm trying to eat like you. He's saying, where the bread at like you, Mississippi Delta. I feel that. Which, by the way, Mississippi Delta guy says it's called psychopathic behavior. So shout out to him again, man. Appreciate that.
We're gonna let I'm back. That motherfucker die. That motherfucker die.
But look, my mom used to whip my ass. My mom used to work for the Peace Corps, man. She had a master's degree in social work. And she used to whip my ass with a whip she got from fucking Afghanistan, my guy. And she was a woman that was a social worker who worked in child abuse cases. How about that? Now, I'm not going to say my mother was abusive because I don't believe she was, but she inflicted pain on me to direct my behavior.
Right.
And, one could argue that in adulthood, and this is counter to what you said earlier, but I don't want to fixate on this. But the idea is that if you teach a child that the appropriate way to handle misbehavior is by inflicting pain, then perhaps they'll mirror that in their adult lives. But I digress. My mom used to whip my ass with a fucking whip from Afghanistan, my nigga. Like, I hated that. I hated that shit. Did not like it. And one day, as I don't know, I had to be about 14. She tried to hit me with a broom. She picked up the broom. She was about to hit me with the broom. And I grabbed the motherfucking handle. And she's like, let go. I said, I'm afraid I cannot. I'm afraid I cannot. Now, my OG was a great woman in my mind. But at that moment, she knew the ass whippings had come to a close.
I remember you mentioning this, but let me ask you a question, and I won't even delve into it anymore. And this is a yes or no, simple yes or no. Do you think, in your heart of hearts, your mind of minds, that all levels of corporate punishment or even levels of abuse produce the same things that you're talking about? That an adult that thinks everything is to be handled with physical violence? And we can have this discussion another time.
We'll have this discussion later. Not absolutely. Yes no. Not absolutely. That's my final answer.
Okay. Which is a no.
which you can read it how you want. We'll have. I think you and I should have a discussion about this over an extended period of time, directed precisely at this issue. We disregard every other. Okay.
Absolutely.
So, having said that, we shall proceed to give you what you need. Get my goddamn likes up.
Run that commercial, man. Run that break, man.
Run the commercial, man. I'm about to run the commercial, man. Get my lights up, man. Get my damn lights up. I know I'm gonna drop some followers gonna drop me, but hey, man, we gotta run the commercial, man. I'm back, man. Look, I got 117 likes, man. I got 166 people watching, man, at the time. I'm sipping on liquor, smoking a cigar, talking to my nigga. Shout out to Charles Faulkner, man. Hey, look, can we get the lights up a little bit, man? Can we at least get to 130? Y'all all hate the content that much, but you sticking around watching the shit? They're free. The lights are free. They don't cost a thing. And one of my disclaimers, look, all I've ever tried to say is this, man. Both black men and black women have the capacity to exhibit either virtue or vice. That's it, man. That shouldn't be too difficult for you to comprehend, to understand, to take in, to absorb, and to understand the reality of. That's it. That trying to dump all of the pathology on the black men is unconscionable. It's unjust. Do black men do shit that's fucked up? Of course. But so do black women, goddammit. I need 3 more likes before I move forward, man. 3 more, man.
What kills me is that black women have fought for sovereignty and autonomy, and that they still blame their autonomous and sovereign actions on us, letting them do some shit. Right? Now, in relationships, I do feel like niggas let, bitches act up. These bitches be acting up and y'all niggas be letting them. But in reference to, them wilding out, doing everything that's out of our control, that, they, again, put the system in between us to fight them over, whether it be over children or be over marriage or be anything in that space, right? It didn't tell us, oh, you ain't fight the system hard enough, the system that I used against you, right? You ain't fight them motherfuckers hard enough and me hard enough to be a father, to be present for your children, or whatever the bullshit is that you ain't fight hard enough for, right? For them to still put the blame back on you and for people to believe that shit. It's one thing for all these things to happen, but it's the final straw in the bullshit is that people believe it and take it seriously. Yeah, it's his fault. He should have chose better. He shouldn't have you could have predicted how this chick was going to act 10 years into the situation.
Hey, bro, all I know is, man, and I said it before, nobody's perfect, man, on this earth. Okay? As a collective, black men are not perfect. As a collective, black women aren't either.
No.
The narrative of white innocence that's postulated by a lot of feminists, specifically dominance feminists, there has to be a counter narrative to that. It has to be. At the end of the day, they are inaccurate. They are ideological. They're not using empirical evidence. They're using ideology and morality to try to postulate a certain fact about what men are doing. But if you're doing the same shit, that's the pot calling the kettle black. And we ain't taking it.
The underlying message is that they can do it and it's acceptable. See, what you're doing is wrong and what they do is acceptable. See, I hear what you're saying, but the underlying message is it doesn't matter what we do to you because there's always a narrative. There's always a reason why you deserve what we do to you. So when we do it, it's not wrong. We have justifications and reasons for what we do to you, and society will believe us. But no matter what your reason is, it's invalid. No matter what your reason, no matter how egregious, our actions are, our behavior is what is not acceptable is for you to harm us in any way. Your harm is always acceptable.
Look here, man. I don't believe in hurting people that don't hurt me, man. That's just how I feel. But if you desire to hurt me, you put your hands on me, bitch, I'm going to slap your ass back. Maybe not the first or second or third time. But if you keep doing it, I'm going to end up fucking lashing out. You can't keep slapping the motherfucking dog on the mouth and thinking that motherfucker ain't going to bite you, man. You just can't expect it, man. Can't expect equality of distribution without equality of retribution. You can't expect it. So fuck all that chivalry shit. But on to the next, my nigga.
No doubt.
My oldest daughter had to take a DNA test for school. Apparently, me and her were not related.
What do you mean by that?
4 kids with my wife, and she was the oldest, and I needed to see how far this rabbit hole went. I went to my next oldest child, not mine. I went to the one below that, not mine. She didn't take responsibility or any type of accountability. She said, how are you going to believe your wife over these tests?
Nasty bitch.
When we looked, each one of the children had different baby fathers.
You're a victim.
6 days ago, she decided to have a hangout session with the chandelier.
Our kids don't have a father.
Or a mother.
Well, yeah, but even before that part, they didn't have a father. Now none of them know who their real father is.
And especially if you did something where you took away yourself from your children.
Right.
From your 3 children. Like, just because you didn't want to face embarrassment.
Because you didn't face embarrassment because you's a hoe. Motherfuckers need to drag your goofy ass out of hell and whip your ass again. What you talking about?
How much proof do you need? And that's my only comment on that.
Man, that's a crusher though. You know what I'm saying? To think that these kids are yours and neither one of them motherfuckers yours, for real. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. But believe all women though. And that's all I'm gonna say on that.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever we say is believable. Whatever you say is unbelievable. You're unbelievable. But we're believable. Why? I wish I had a Puss in Boots motherfucking like emoji or some shit to put on the screen. Like, I'm pure and innocent. I could never do anything wrong. Come on, man. We got to stop the bullshit.
Right.
Only in the fucking airport, Spirit Airlines. The bitch half naked. Motherfuck, what this is going on in 2023? Lord, give me strength. I say no drawers. No fucking drawers, y'all. What this is? No drawers. I wonder if Spirit gonna let this happen today. Spirit, you gonna let this happen? Y'all need to ban some shit. This ain't right. She have on no drawers. I wish I could have catched the front, Lord. No drawers. Look at the woman. Look at the woman. What the fuck?
Why they bomba clot? I
Come
bitch
on,
have
man.
no drawers on.
Come on, man.
What the ass?
Come on, man.
What the ass?
Come on, man.
Wagwan. Wagwan.
Come on, man.
What a bomba
Come on,
clot
man.
is this? What a bomba clot is?
When we were brought here, we were robbed of our name, robbed of our language. We lost our religion, our culture, our God. And many of us, by the way we act, we even lost our minds.
Oh, I know that's not a Jamaican accent, bro. I'm from Flatbush. I know the difference. Trust me. I'm just saying random shit. I know she ain't Jamaican. Sound more Trini or some shit or some other shit. But yeah, I know that's not Jamaican, bro. But I seen that one. It's Spirit. It's Spirit Airline.
But
You know
come
what
on,
I'm saying?
man. Come on, man. Come
Oh,
on,
she's
bro.
definitely Caribbean, of course. You know, I would say she's either, if not Guyanese ain't really Caribbean. It's, you know, South
Come
American,
on,
but
man.
she sounds
Come
Trini to
on,
me.
man.
But it's hey man, it's Spirit Airlines, man.
Come on, man. Come on. How you gonna sit on a seat with your naked ass, man? How you gonna walk around with your naked ass out like that, yo?
I mean,
how?
But bitches are wearing bonnets on the plane. You can look,
man. Fuck a bonnet, man. Look, a bonnet. Look, I ain't even. Is it tacky? Yeah, but come on, man. That's a whole different level. That's a whole different level, man.
Well, you know, Lizzo went to the game with her ass out, and the bitches defended it. The funny thing about this is a woman that made this video, right? If a dude said some shit, if it was a guy's voice, it'd be a problem. Who you trying to control their bodies?
Hey, man, look, everybody's body is controlled.
So she about to sit on the
everybody's body. Everybody's body. Look.
Right. Absolutely.
I want you to understand this. The state, in every shape, form, and fashion, controls your body.
Right.
It's a fact. It controls what you consume. It controls how you are presented in the public. It controls the things that go into your body during your early childhood era or age. Like vaccinations for measles and chicken pox, the rubellas and all that. Okay? The state controls bodies. They're in the business of controlling bodies. Okay? That's just a fact. Now, the question is whether or not there are unjust controls over the body. Like when it comes to vaccination for measles and shit like this, I don't think that that's an unjust control. I just don't. But, I mean, come on, man. Like, if a man was walking around the airport with his dick dangling like Dirk the Diggler, it'd be a problem.
Not enough niggas is sagging. Sagging is a problem.
I think sagging is a problem, but at least when a motherfucker sagging, he got something around his ass.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like, sagging is a problem in in social environments, but that ain't, right? So sagging is the problem to the point where they got signs on doors of businesses that say that you can't come in here sagging. Right? But there's no rules against any way a woman might show up. Like, there ain't no rule against that. You know, whatever.
There's a rule against that shit, man. Like, look, there is a rule against it. It's not being enforced, okay? Now, God knows why it's not being enforced in this particular situation and incarnation. I really don't understand, okay? But I know for goddamn sure, if I was walking around the airport with Dirk Diggler dangling, it'd be a motherfucking problem.
For everybody debating the accent in the chat, I mean, yeah, definitely, you know, I can see it not being Trini, Guyanese, or it could be, you know, it could be St. Vincent for all, but you know, and one more thing, Guyana, yeah, technically, no, not the Caribbean. It's the furthest thing from the Caribbean. I just want to shout that out. Yeah, they claim and they their culture is kind of Caribbean, but Guyana is nowhere near that area. Right. I just want to point that out because that's a debate I've been having for a long time. Guyanese people are not Caribbean people. It is nowhere near the Caribbean, South America. But at any rate, yeah, man. You know,
moving on as we proceed.
Right. Let's go.
Don't you snatch that from her. Don't do that again. Yeah, knock it down. Tear it up. Yep, and step on it. And Karen's just gonna have to deal with it. The fuck? Yep, knock all of it down. Good girl. Very good, Naoki. And grab it and tear it up. Oh well. Tear it up again. Don't put your hands on her. Don't do that. Yeah.
Did the because I'm trying to remember in the beginning of the video, did the white girl do anything to the black girl for all
Yeah,
this
she
shit?
did something to her, knocked her shit down.
Oh, okay. Because I'm wondering, I maybe
I don't have a
missed
problem with this, man. Look, I don't have a problem with this, man. But some people might have a problem with it, but I don't have a problem with it. However, I do think that the woman is indiscreet as fuck. You understand what I'm saying? Like, at that point, you got to burn out. Or if you're going to stay, hey, look, you got to take some, where's this white girl parents at?
Yeah, but I hear that. What I do
now, you don't
like
want to,
about
like, the fuck and all of this to me. Look, lady,
I ain't mad at it.
I ain't mad at it. But I ain't mad at it at all. Okay?
I ain't mad at it.
I ain't mad at it at all. Okay? However, what I will say is the whole thing about don't put your hands on, what if the little white girl start smashing her ass? Now, I know you there to protect her or whatever the case may be. It's a cute little black girl.
Right.
Innocent as a motherfucker. Unjaded by the rigors and the injustices of American culture and society, just trying to find a way to get through the grid successfully and unaltered psychologically. And I understand that the mother's trying to, or the grandmother, or the guardian, or whoever, is just trying to impart some sort of self-care, some self-actualization in the situation. But hey, you're going to go to war, you got to be prepared to go to war all the way.
So let's get to the part where people are talking about the white girl's parents, right? There are going to be situations between children where ain't no parents there. So then what does your child do in that situation? Whether it's a little girl or a little boy, black girl or black boy. We got to teach the kid how to deal with that issue in our absence. Right? So I ain't against the shit at all. She knocked your shit down, knock her shit down.
No problem.
Let's eliminate the doll test shit where okay, it's a white girl, so we deal with it like this. We go to the parents, but if it's another little black girl, black boy, we knocking they shit down. No, we knock the white people shit down too. Fuck that. And we do it without going to some other level of authority. No, you tell them children how to deal with that other child themselves without having to run to a third party. Oh, let's talk to our parents. We done all that had fights in school with little niggas or with girls and fought girls without going to some adult. We've all done it. So let's not cap here today, right? Let's not cap here today with the, oh, we should have went to her parents and block. No, fuck that. Knock that little girl shit the fuck down. Just like how, you know, with the boat, remember the shit that happened in the South? Well, why are these black people attacking these white people? This is a lot of shit, a lot of the fucking responses to helping this black man that was attacked by these white people is, well, why these thugs attack these good white people, and why they hit old Miss whatever her name is over the head, the white lady. Why did she have like she wasn't part of the shit? Hold on, let me stop that. Like she wasn't part of the bullshit, right?
Man, I believe white women should get their head knocked in. Sorry, if they on some knocking nigga heads in, if they get involved in some skirmishes, they subjected to the skirmishing.
There will be a time where that little girl will be by herself, no mama and grandmama, whoever that was with her, and the girl or boy giving her issue, their parents won't be there either.
So this is what my viewpoint on it is this. I agree with you on this. I retract my initial statement about the mama talking to the other mama or whatever, but I'll say this. Everybody should be capable of protecting their self-esteem and their self-respect. Male or female. If it was another little black girl doing this shit, I believe she should tear her shit down too. If it's a black boy tearing his shit down, tear his shit down too. That's just my viewpoint on it. What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Right.
There's repercussions. There's repercussions and reactions to every action. So, having said that, like my man say, rated E for everyone. Rated E for everybody. So, I don't have a problem with it. I don't. So, having said that, let's move along. Because it was people in the comment section of that video like, you can't teach that little girl to do that. That's wrong. And no, fuck all that. If she gonna tear your shit down, you tear her shit down.
Right. Equal rights and lefts.
You have to see how things really took a turn with this college professor.
I had an abortion 2 years ago, and I don't regret it at all. They yanked the fetus out of my uterus, and I'm so happy. I'm a professor at this university,
okay,
and I make more money than you.
What's your name?
That's none of your business.
You're so.
Kind of
What makes me that? Please give me my mic back, please. Thank you. Okay, you're not stronger than me, all right? Hey, officer! This young lady, she's trying to rip my stuff up.
Oh, I'm assaulting her. If
Come on.
I get arrested right now, I would literally lash out.
Walk away right now.
I already said I was going to let it go. I have a question for you, Gordon.
But
Am
let
I
go right
assaulting
now.
him? Is this assault?
Let go right now.
Yes or no?
Let go right now.
Yes.
You're under arrest. Put your hands behind you. We pray for the grace of God for you.
Pray
That's
for the grace
right.
of God for you.
I almost want you to play that again. But I'm gonna say this, man. It's about time. Like, what black men gotta do is use white zaddy the same way these motherfuckers are using them on us. Same way. There's this sort of, honor in not just not defending yourself, but not using the state and the authorities when being assaulted or disrespected by females. This
I
is
agree.
sort of honor. Yeah, there's this honor that comes with taking the L.
I agree.
Nah, motherfucker.
I agree.
Officer.
If you in the wrong, you in the wrong.
Officer. Because then your ass will be fucked up. But anyway.
But we have the winter soldier chip, like BGS says.
Right.
To where we want to, we going to work this out. Like Ilyana Van Zant said a long time ago, you got to sit in it with her. But you don't sit in it with us. You don't sit in it with us. You've been incentivized to utilize the rigors of the carceral state against us at any time.
Right.
Justifiably so in your minds. If we fuck another person, I'm gonna sick the state on your ass. I'm gonna hit you and then call the police on your motherfucking ass. And if you do anything while I'm hitting your ass, if you even think that you could touch me while I'm whipping your ass, then it's a problem. I'm gonna call Zaddy on your ass. And this is the kind of culture we have.
But that's
I'm moving on to the
again,
next one, man, before I get motherfucking
that's again, black women practice white supremacy. You know, the same, you know, we talking about Karens, right? Karens, right? They call the police on black people or black men or whatever. Black women do the same shit to us. Everybody calls the police on black men. For living, for breathing.
How dare you give me a natural response to me whipping your ass? How dare you disagree with my viewpoint on what I'm supposed to do in terms of abortion? Like, there can't be a debate about it. I'm gonna take your mic, nigga. You ain't gonna be able to say shit, nigga, because I said so. And I make more money than you. I'm better than you, nigga.
Yeah. So you supposed
That's
to take
what I got from that. Nigga, you ain't shit, nigga. I'm a professor at this motherfucker and I make more money than you do, nigga. You ain't shit, nigga.
Shout out to Lord of Brooklyn. Yeah, I remember this shit. Yeah, you supposed to take it. I was in the police car with the knife still in me. Yeah,
Come on,
Blueface knocked that motherfucker on his ass. I saw that video, man. He put hands on that motherfucker, boy. Yeah, man. No doubt, no doubt.
In the last 9 months or so of me being in my private practice, I have myself experienced many women, whether they came in as a couple or they came by themselves, they very abruptly discontinued their therapy. I noticed that after I had to bring to their attention something they were doing that wasn't contributing to the health of the relationship, they became very defensive and they stopped coming. And even though the husband would continue to come, he made it very clear that, yeah, she won't apologize. She thinks you're wrong. She thinks you're taking my side. And I began to really reflect, like, oh my gosh, is it true that women don't apologize? Is it that women struggle with being held accountable?
It's like only women who professionally deal with women in one way or another, whether it be, you know, psychologists, therapists, you know, matchmakers, and these types of people, these types of women, they you know, at some point come to this realization. But let's see how long. I don't know who this woman is now. I didn't see the video, but I saw it online. I didn't hit play. Like, you know, the caption was, you know, woman says women discontinue therapy or, you know, these counseling sessions when, you know, they're told that they have some sort of role or accountability in some negative shit, right? Something to that effect, right? But, you know, let's see how long it is until this same woman tells us that, you know, women are running circles around niggas like your Rebecca Lynn Pope did. Like all these women, they'll say this because it'll hit them, the reality, and then to keep getting money from these women, they got to say something that contradicts it maybe a year later. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, you know, right.
It's like the earth and the tides and the moon, man. The sisterhood is the moon, man, pulling the tides. You know what I'm saying? Hey, the force is strong with them.
Right.
The force is strong. You understand? And so, you know, people move back and forth. They contradict themselves. They know on the one hand, cerebrally, that in this country, and notice she didn't really say black women, she said women. She didn't make, maybe I'm wrong, but she didn't say something about black women. She said something about women.
Right. But it's almost implied because I'm sure that she has a good number of black clients that come see her or black couples.
Hey man, they say you got to be able to take criticism. You have to be able to take it, especially if you're able to give it. Unless you believe your ass don't stink. That's why I love Outkast in that song. I know you like to think your shit don't stink. But lean a little bit closer, see roses really smell like boo, boo, boo. Nobody's perfect, man. Both men and women have the ability or the capacity to exhibit virtue or vice. It's vicious to engage in tyrannical and pathological behavior, but to think it should never be called out. Never.
I mean, we can say it.
Huh?
We can say it, but when you have the word, when you have somebody that believes something like that, and then 90% of the world, or at least the not the world, but like the society that they're in, is enabling that belief, right? If you believe that, like, if you have a God complex, right, and you got men out here flat out saying the black woman is God and treating you like the God and you the prize and all of this other shit, you know, again, Sims outnumber men who think like us. So most of the male population is telling you that you're that thing that you think you are, either in, you know, vocally or either in their actions. You know, men are doing too much to be in your presence, to feed you, to buy you clothes, to give you stuff. They want to pay. They want the honor of paying your phone bill. They want the honor of paying for some shit for you, right? That produces a certain level of narcissism, right? So when you or me come by and say what you're saying, like, hey, man, men and women both have the capacity to, none of that, that sounds good. We're the outliers. We're like going to a church and saying, Jesus ain't real in a room full of people that is in church worshiping Jesus. Then you might got that one little boy who hate church and he don't believe in Jesus. He with you, but the church gonna pick your ass up and throw you in the dumpster.
Man, I'm like Usher, nigga. I'm walking around daylight with a flashlight. I'm looking for the truth, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm like Diogenes the centipede, man. With the lantern, with the dog by his side. Hey, I got a lantern with me, a lamp. I'm looking for an honest man. Where are they? Ain't nobody honest. And this is especially the case when it comes to contemporary women, man. They've created this mystique about their innocence, but I think, and I've said this on several occasions, that it comes from the cult of domesticity, which was pushed and promoted by white culture only during a certain period of time, because prior to that period of time, they didn't believe that women were innocent and just pure and good and benevolent and magnificent and, you know, all of this shit. They believed that they were human beings who had the capacity to err just like anybody else. But I think that, you know, the unique situation with the colonization of the Americas created this whole cult of domesticity, which imputed and, you know, which characterized, you know, women in general as being morally virtuous or having to be. So right now it's just a situation in which people believe that women have to be. They got to be virtuous.
That's part of it. That's part of it. In social
I know
interactions.
niggas want to, look, I get what you're saying about niggas wanting to pay for the pussy. Niggas wanting to be.
Not even that. In social interactions, what you're saying is correct. And then of course there's the paying for the pussy or even the selling or the indirect selling of pussy. Because that's another thing we don't talk about. We talk about niggas paying for pussy. We don't talk about the indirect selling of pussy enough. Right? But there was another. Go ahead.
The understanding of manhood intrinsically being such that you have to protect women at all costs, even when the woman is engaged in moral impropriety. That's the umbrage I have with the situation.
Yeah, service of women, pushed as masculinity. Like the only path to being a real man is to serve women, or to serve her purposes, or to serve her children. Right? This is masculinity, right? Or to pay for shit, or whatever the case may be. This is what masculinity is. We know what masculinity is. People go, what's masculinity?
I'm down on bended knee. I'm down.
The trait, right?
God, that's me the reason.
That's what's sold as masculinity. When we say women are masculine, we're not saying that they're doing all this stuff. Because a masculine woman would pay a nigga bills, take care of a nigga, et cetera, et cetera. They're talking about they don't want to be masculine, right? They don't want to be in their masculine energy. And I've said this on one of my streams. If they were in their masculine energy, they would be doing for us what they're saying we should do for them. But no, they know what masculinity is, that they don't want to do those things. But at the same time, they'll tell us masculinity is some sort of service.
Man, they act like having a fucking job is masculinity, man.
Or making a decision.
That's not masculinity, man. Going to school, having a job is not masculinity, man.
If they didn't want to practice masculinity, quit college and don't get your degree, because that's masculine, bitch.
At the end of the day, bro, I'll be willing to admit this much, and I know it'll probably piss people off, okay, in the manosphere. It's cool for a woman to be, to some degree, in her masculine phase, as all human beings have, like the yin and the yang principle. The problem I have, though, is that when you really actually run up against the true masculine principle, which, one could argue, is imputed genetically. Don't cry foul when you bump up against it and you get put into your feminine state. What can you do? Don't try to go get your son. Don't try to go get the police. This is a natural consequence of you operating in the world in a specific kind of way. Now, it's one thing to assert yourself. It's another thing to go overboard, because as a man can engage in viciousness, I think I take up the Aristotelian conception of virtue. I think it's an accurate way of understanding viciousness and virtue. I think that there's a mean between two extremes that demonstrates whether you're acting appropriately in a specific situation. Like, you can go overboard, like being angry is not a problem if it's in the right situation. Like, to use the example that was demonstrated today with the child standing up for herself, or a mother demanding that she, or the grandparent demanding that she stand up for herself in a situation in which somebody else is violating her dignity. The appropriate response is, you fuck my shit up, I'm gonna fuck yours up. It is the case, though, that it is a little bit, overboard to punch the little girl. But I mean, you got to be prepared. If the little girl punch you, the appropriate response is to punch her ass in the eye as well. Now, I think you can go overboard in anger. If you go overboard in anger, then you're being just irascible. If you have no anger in the appropriate situation, then you are a coward, a pussy, a pushover. I think this applies to men and women. I don't think women should just, like any man that they come up against, they should supposed to roll over and open their legs and be like, okay, I defer. I don't think that's necessary. But anybody can go overboard in striking the mean between the two extremes where virtue exists. Because you can hit viciousness. This is the way I understand it. Courage. is striking the mean between two extremes. If you're overly courageous when you shouldn't be, then you're rash, you're stupid. But if you have no courage at all in the appropriate situation, then you are, a coward, someone with no backbone. But you have to understand what the situation calls for, and you can only do that through experience. But my view on it is, if it's never the case where there's a social sanction or natural consequences or legal consequences to being vicious, either in the extreme or the deficiency, then it builds bad character. It just is what it is. It can happen to men and women, but we act as if women are exempt from being socially sanctioned or legally or morally sanctioned for the things that they do. I don't have a problem with a woman standing up for herself in the appropriate situation to the appropriate degree. But I think that women have to be also mindful of the fact that typically men have more muscle mass and they're bigger and stronger. So you shouldn't try to fucking buck up and act like you can whip this nigga's ass. Especially if you know you can't. But to be allowed to act as if you can, it creates bad moral character. That's my viewpoint on that.
You said knowing you can.
Put it this way, and I say knowing you can is because nobody's going to respond to your viciousness in the appropriate way. I think that's also a form of viciousness. Not responding appropriately to viciousness itself is another form of viciousness.
Let me ask you a question again. I don't want to make a conversation out of this because we did this before, and this what I would call a contradiction showed itself in our last conversation about this. If we both agree that lack of checking these women over their behavior produces a problem, wouldn't that be the same for children?
What do you mean? I mean, do you mean not checking children is a problem with children, or not checking women?
I mean, people in general, because earlier we were talking about punishing children being a problem and producing violent adults. When the same can be said for unpunished children. Unpunished children can produce violent adults, right?
It could,
right?
But it doesn't. Look,
definitely
all I'm trying to say.
Go ahead.
This is what I'm saying, man. There's many ways to discipline people.
Right.
The only form of discipline that exists on the planet is not taking a belt to somebody.
I didn't say that either. That's why I said
I know you didn't say that.
Right.
But to me, I don't. Like I said, we need to allocate a specific show to this subject matter.
Absolutely. But
so
I just wanted to make
let's agree on doing that. But here's what I'll say: there's a myriad of ways in which a person can be disciplined. Like the military disciplines people in a variety of different ways. The state disciplines people in a variety of different ways. Now, the state in this country, outside of the context of the police, because they're not in the business of punishment, they're in the business of incapacitating and apprehending. That's what they do. I'm going to bring you to the judge and I'm going to hold you somewhere before the judge punishes you. But typically in this country, punishment to adults is administered by means of incapacitation or incarceration or fines or, serving time or whatever. So all I'm trying to say is there's a myriad of ways in which an individual can be punished outside of the context of caning the motherfucker.
Would you agree that those options are reduced with children? You can't fine a child, right? There's things that there's ways that you can punish adults that you can't punish children, right? And also we had cruel and unusual punishments for adults, and that was for the most part gotten rid of. But I done worked in prisons, and I can tell you that inmates get their ass beat.
Especially if they get out of line. But I mean,
Right, but
if they need to be incapacitated because they're doing some foul shit, that's a whole different subject matter. Like, what I mean by that is this: in the most extreme situations, like if a peacekeeper's safety is being violated in him trying to preserve safety in a penal institution, then like if you setting fires and throwing shit around
this is what I'm talking about. What I'm trying to explain to you is, I said earlier, and even in the other stream, there's levels to everything, and there's levels to the responses that you will give to adults and children's behavior when it comes to punitive actions. It's not that I'm arguing that the go-to is, the leather belt or the switch or whatever. What I'm saying is a lot of times what we use as arguments against reasonable corporal punishment is abuse. We use abuse as the argument against reasonable corporal punishment. And we all know that there is levels, not only to the level of, the punishment, but also to the actual behaviors, and also the behaviors that the child themselves tend to be on. In other words, there are good kids, there are kids in the middle, and there are really extremely bad fucking kids. And I wouldn't prescribe the same level of corporal punishment to those kids that are typically good or in the middle that I would use on the extremely bad kids. But to say that the extremely bad kid should be spared the extreme punishment that should meet the behaviors that they, are acting out, because the other kids will suffer, or that because people tend to abuse corporal punishment, is a bad argument. You understand what I'm saying?
I get it, and we'll have to discuss this
absolutely
in on another platform, or at another time. But I'll say this in closing about this, so I'll land the plane.
No doubt.
I know of more insidious ways to inflict punishment than by taking a belt and slapping a fucking child. You know what I'm saying? And across the rear end. Now, maybe it's because I, have a warped and twisted mind. Okay? Or maybe it's because I'm a masochist, no, a sadist, because a masochist is someone who likes to receive pain. But maybe I'm sadistic to a certain extent, but like I can put a kid in front lean and rest position, and that shit is worse than fucking slapping his ass. Get in the front lean and rest. I want you to stay in this motherfucker until you fail. It is what it is. So, hey, I want you to squat. Not all the way where you're resting with your knees bent all the way down, but I want you to do like you're standing on the wall, my boy. Let's get them thighs popping.
Crazy.
Stay there for a little while.
Just to respond to the guy in the chat, Jigan, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that name right. It's not subjective. If you got a kid that tends to lean towards bad or extremely bad behavior versus a kid that never gets in trouble, never does anything bad, those are two different children. Okay? So it's not fallacious. You got the kid that's burning houses down versus the kid that, might eat one cookie more than he was supposed to have. And I don't think that those kids are the same.
And what I don't want to do in disciplining a child ever is to break a child, meaning to break their spirit, because I believe that children with all different type of temperaments have different kinds of value. And like, if we were actually statesmen and politically astute, instead of, thinking in terms of what, the black community requires, or like, and what I mean by this, if we had vision about like the character of citizens, we would understand that like bad children really are not necessarily bad if they're utilized in a certain capacity in behalf of the community or the state, so to speak.
Depends on the bad child.
But I get that. I understand that. But I am in firm belief that, you know, children are just, they're born with a talent index. They're born with certain temperaments. Like there's some dogs who are more nervous. Let's take it to animals. But again, I'm going to talk about this for 2 minutes, and then I'm going to land the plane and be done with it for all time until we talk to it, speak to it in the other instance in which we've agreed to do so. But let me just say this. So a fucking pit bull has a certain temperament, some of them, okay? And some of them are just bad as fuck. They're not really bad innately, but their character has to be developed in such a way that the best can be brought out of them. The same with, you know, any other type of animal. There are certain bucks, you know, like horses, that you don't want to break them in their development. And I think that, you know, sometimes we can create a situation in which we're not cultivating, but what we're doing is breaking, trying to assert dominance instead of trying to bring the best out of them. So what harkens to mind to me is the Greek concept of poiesis. How can you take what seems or is apparently negative and turn it into such a way that it works to the advantage of the community and the state? Like a bad kid might not necessarily be bad, but it demonstrates that they have some sort of resiliency, they have self-esteem, they have a form of self-respect, and maybe perhaps it translates into them developing some viciousness in the sense that they believe that they can tyrannize and terrorize other kids because of some innate endowment that they've been given. So yeah, it needs to be constrained and reformed, but it has to be done also in a way that I think is virtuous. But I'll land the plane there and I'll move on and I'll allow you to rebut for 2 minutes if you'd like, but I will move on from this.
I don't need 2 minutes. I'm gonna just say this. The same way we can sit here and say that these women a lot of times are not acting out, you know, with this bad behavior because they're responding to men. The same applies with children, because grown people are people, they're human beings, and so are children. Right. So, you know, I understand everything that you're saying and everything that people in the chat are saying to me that are, you know, opposed to what I'm saying. Right. Because we view children as though they, you know, they have no capability of evil. And they absolutely do. Some I'm not saying all kids, because I wouldn't say all people. Some kids are fucking bad, right? Regardless of how
most kids are bad, bro. Most kids are bad, but go ahead.
No. I wanna define bad. Because I want to make this quick, right? Right? And you know, kids have agency too, right? Kids are not always acting in you know, relevance to an adult or some other shit. Some kids are just bad. We know all of the bad adults that were bad kids from the start. No matter what you did for them, no matter what you gave them, no matter what you taught them, they were just who they are. To say that people are not born with a character that remains throughout their lives, regardless of external shit, that's fallacious, right? Because we tend to look at kids differently. And I'm not saying that every kid that's acting a certain way is quote unquote bad or evil, but to say that children don't fall under the same, you know, some of the same ideologies or realities as adult humans is bullshit. You understand what I'm saying? Because kids grow up to be adults. So
you said under 2 minutes.
Well, we got to show kids love. Yo, with all I'm gonna land the plane with this. There are people that from their childhood, no matter how much love you show them, no matter how much you give them, no matter what you do, they're gonna be who they're gonna be. And to say that that's not real is delusional. It's delusional, bro. But no,
I got you. So you've landed the plane.
Yes, landed the plane.
I am taboo. The plane. No need to explain. The plane. It is landed, and we're going to move on to Fantasy Island. At least one person's version of what a fantasy inheres in.
Got a mandingo! Pure bred mandingo!
I want to see. This is what I was looking for, yeah. Oh!
Dare you? Playful as a kitten, strong as a bull elephant.
Good Lord, man! I don't buy the pig in the poll.
Carry on like a man.
If she buys him, he gonna find out tonight she ain't no man.
You mean that white lady pleasure with that nigga?
That's a German widow, and German ladies can never pleasure enough.
How much?
3,500.
I give you 3,000.
I'll pay the price you're asking.
You are no gentleman trying to take the nigger from the poor widow woman.
The use you crave to make of him, ma'am.
Where's this from exactly?
I think it's from the Mandingo movie. I'm not exactly sure, but
okay.
So
basically, right? The woman wants to buy him as a sex toy. Now, the other guy, what he wants to buy, he wants to outbid her for what reason?
It looked like to me, it looked like he wants to obstruct her from getting that big black dick.
Right, because the last thing he wants to see is a black man with a white woman. He's trying to block that.
I don't want that snake to get all up in that system.
So he ready to drop $3K back then. Which $3K was a lot of money.
Bruh, $3K is still a lot of money. But back then, that's right. Like buying a motherfucking today, it's like buying a motherfucking
like a luxury vehicle.
A Navigator or some shit.
Right.
She want that Navigator. Navigating to a cervical area.
Right.
But I mean, you know, I showed this clip. It was interesting to me because we often talk about sexual violation related to women in slave life. Or we talk about how women were violated, their dignity was kind of, you know, I guess, again, I guess the only word I have for it is violated. In the context of, you know, their sexual purity was violated, related to the institution of slavery, but we neglect to explore, understand the same kind of violations that black men endured,
right,
related to the same system.
Right, right.
And it's the monopolization, I think, of dignity. And I don't think that that's a just way to go about looking at, you know, who can protect who, you know, because ultimately the argument I hear a lot of black women make is that, you know, we're uptight because we weren't protected. Well, shit. So black men were uptight. They weren't protected either. But our goal, you know, our life should be centered around protection. And to a certain degree, I understand the sentiment. I get it.
I don't.
I understand it. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I understand it. But I also understand what being outnumbered means. I also understand what being indoctrinated means. I understand hermeneutical, which means interpretive understandings being challenging for people who have been born into a condition of servitude. You know, this is a lot to unpack. It's a lot. And I could have dedicated an entire show to this, 2 hours, 4 and 5 maybe, just to this clip alone. But I just want to underscore the idea that it wasn't just one sex subjected to sexual violation. It was something that existed across gender.
Right. But, you know, worse for us because women weren't the only one buying men for that purpose. You understand what I'm saying?
I get it. I perfectly understand it.
Right. So, you know, I mean, this is why I don't resonate with this shit is because first of all, black men's slavery experience was different and egregiously worse than black women's. Right? You know, like all the way to, you know, getting burnt and hanged and all of that shit. I'm not saying that black women didn't get, you know, abused all types of ways or hanged or whatever. I'm just saying that there were more instances of that happening with men than with women. Right?
But before you say anything else, I just want to say shout out to my nigga Nubis. Shout out my nigga Nubis for hitting me up on the cash out. Shout out my nigga Nubis. Shout out to my nigga Nubis. And you know, but and also before I forget, for some reason my cash app man wants to act funky. Shout out to Corbett Goodwin.
Yeah, shout out to Corbett.
Shout out to Michael Aziz. And yeah, that's the people who I want to immediately thank for their kind contributions and sponsorship of today's show, because we all know that by and large, the videos that we put out will never, I mean, it's almost a fucking guarantee that none of our videos will actually be able to be monetized on this medium that we call YouTube.
Right. I got yellow dollar signs all over my dashboard. Yellow. You know what yellow mean?
Limited.
Right.
Truncated. Regulated. Incapacitated.
But we grifters though.
Attenuated. I mean, the point is, look, when I saw the comment that was made on my page, I'll show it to you now. I'll show it to you. Because what it said to me was that we want you to shut the fuck up, and if you don't shut the fuck up, what we're going to do is we're going to tell on you and fuck your career up or get you hurt. That's a form of, that is violence. Okay, the person removed the comment, I assume, but I mean,
it's a terrorist threat, actually. Yo, from now on, when you see shit like that, immediately make a screenshot.
Oh, but it's still here. So look, I want you to, I'm gonna make, it will be forever enshrined into a screenshot at the current moment, okay? So I will present it. I will share the screen. I made a video called Interracial Relationships with a colleague of mine who is innocuous related to anything manosphere. He has nothing to do with it. But I don't know if this woman was the woman who wrote him an email, but I know that she left, whoever this is, left a comment on my channel. And basically what she said is, I don't know if you can really see this. I'll try to make it larger.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but sometimes you can zoom in so much that it won't show anything at all. Miss Veronica Conway says men of other races are definitely paying attention to this recent tantrum that black men have been having. They are quietly planning to deal with black men.
For y'all bitches?
They're quietly, what is this? To me, what it says is that they're ready to issue a pogrom which means like some sort of killing, genocidal action against us, or incarceration of us,
it could mean
devolution of, you know, like our ability to enter into professions or whatever. Like, deal with this how? What,
right,
by
it could be any
fucking
number
you?
of things.
I hope the white adjacent skin was worth it. And what this look? White adjacent skin. Like,
Yeah, because we're the ones running around with blonde weaves and perms and fake blue eyes and, you know, shit like that's us. We're doing that, right?
Look, at the end of the day, and I think what it really means is that if black men start fucking their women, they're gonna resist against it and ward us off from fucking their women. Like, you can't be with this white woman because the Klan will come and burn some, they'll Emmett Till us or some shit like that.
No, they're talking about tantrums. In other words, they're saying men of other races are paying attention to us having a tantrum, meaning us speaking out and saying what we're saying. It's not about dealing with white women. This is more about, you know, speaking our issues into the air. And I'm trying to understand what makes this chick think that other races of men are going to come at us for talking about these issues with these chicks. Like they give a fuck. And the white adjacent skin, as far as that is concerned, I don't know if that necessarily means that you know, dudes are dealing with white women, because there's a fierce minority of black men actually with white women or non-black women. But I think it's more about their you know, them liking to say that us saying the things that we're saying, or trying to, you know, actually be the black men they're saying that we should be for them, is us trying to be closer to whiteness. The funny thing is, these chicks that say they want motherfuckers with 6-figure salaries and, you know, all of this shit that, you know, is usually, you know, connotated with whiteness. That's the type of guys they want. They'll judge black men's ability to perform and earn like white men do. But then when that doesn't serve them, then they'll say, oh, y'all just want to be white guys. Y'all want to be patriarchs and this and that and the other. It's the dumbest shit in the world. But just understand that none of that shit has to make sense. It just has to get you mad. You know what I'm saying? It just has to piss you off. It just has to trigger. So they talk about tantrums. They're talking about the shit they were saying about them. That's it. Nothing else. And somehow these white people are gonna punish us for speaking about black women like they give a fuck about you. Fuck out of here. That shit don't even make sense.
So
take time.
I can't pull up the document now, and it's a disservice to everyone watching that I can't. But shout out to Aaron P, by the way, and
yeah, shout out Aaron P.
Shout out to him, by the way, and he deserves some fanfare. Shout out to him, by the way. And also, shout out to Aro. He says, black women mostly embraced slavery, while black men wanted to escape slavery. Black women use X, to build a comfortable space within slavery and white supremacy that still exists to this day.
Yes, sir.
Now, we can have a conversation about that because that is demeaning. But, okay, so Tommy Curry did a video, and I thought that I had this document to where I could refer to it rather easily, but I don't. But what it did was it demonstrated that there is a masculinity scale and a femininity scale and people's perception related to it. And the scale embodies what is considered to be threatening or non-threatening related to races. And within that scale, it's no strange secret that black women were related, they were marked or tabulated high on the masculinity scale, man. Not too far away from black men.
Wait, what? Because I did something like that. Wait, say that again now. You said something about masculinity and
bro. I'll pull it up tomorrow. Okay.
Because years ago
there is a masculinity scale.
I did that, man. Wait. I gotta see this. Go ahead.
This is a scholarly document that's been published.
How old is it?
It can't be any more than 10 years old if it's that old.
Bro.
And ultimately what it does is it creates a hierarchical scale related to people's perceptions of masculinity, regardless of gender, but expressions of masculine characteristics.
I get it. I did that. Go ahead, bro.
Black women were related higher than white women on the scale. Of course, like white women are perceived to be the most, excellent exemplars of femininity in this culture. Okay. Maybe perhaps Asian women fall high on the scale as well.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, the reality is that black women are not being perceived as being very high on the femininity scale in this culture, in Western societies. They rank high on the scale. And one of the reasons why they are more subjected to violence than white women is because they are perceived more as threats than white women are as it pertains to masculinity and femininity. Now, we know that masculinity represents a threat. Okay, it is perceived as threatening. Okay, especially if it's not cultivated in such a way as to be beneficial to the society writ large. Okay, but I don't want to meander from what I know to be the truth by my ignorance of the subject matter at the present moment. So I'll wait. But I think that'll be interesting to take a look at it and to see, because ultimately black men are going to be established or caricaturized as hyper or like uber masculine, okay? Such that they're going to be perceived as more threatening than any other group of men, and that they need to be checked on that account.
So I'm going to say
in a negative sense. So in this sense, masculinity, I don't want to really actually say more than what I know about it by not investigating deeper into the matter. So I'll restrict my statements to that. But just know this. These people are not coming to the aid and assistance of women who they perceive as to be threatening. They don't fuck with y'all like that. I've been saying, I said this to the divestors a long time ago. White dudes have never fucked with y'all the long way. Now they'll fuck you, they'll spit lick you behind a bush and keep it pushing. But by and large, they're not checking for white women. They're not. I'm not trying to be ignorant by saying this. This is a historical reality that can be empirically and archivally, understood to be true. They don't fuck with y'all the long way. They just don't. And the reason why they don't is because, let's be frank about it. You are nigger manufacturers, man. Your wounds manufactures niggas, man. It is what it is. When a white man is seeking to reproduce, by and large, I'm not saying there aren't any white men who don't pick other women. They fuck who they want, okay? But when it comes to having people in what they consider to be their clan, they're not going to hold those children of yours to the same level of esteem that they would have with a white woman, or maybe even a woman of Asian, or because there's varieties of Asian, so they can't all be pigeonholed into one, wide swath. But I mean, we already know that black people are at the bottom of the totem pole. And I think it's unjustifiable. I don't think it's fair But I mean, the reality is that the perception of black women is no better than that of black men for real all across the board. It's not like, oh, you can separate yourself from black men and thereby attain whiteness to some degree. That's what white adjacentness means to me. It means that you can slip past the rigors of being black by, you know, somehow extricating or compartmentalizing yourself away from black men. You can't, there's no way you can do it because you create black men out of your fucking vaginas, your wombs, your uteri. Create blackness. Like, it's gotta be the most tragic thing that you could ever have to endure. To want to extricate yourself away from the pathology that you associate with blackness by dumping it all on black men. But at the end of the day, you manufacture black men out of your wombs and you curse your own fruit. That's tragedy. It's the most ironic shit ever. And the only thing we've ever said is, look, I personally don't believe that there's something intrinsically fucked up about black women, but I do believe it's like, you know, Dave Chappelle talked about Hollywood and how it creates some weirdness and shit like that. Like, you know, actors are, you know, kind of subjected to the weirdness of the culture of Hollywood. I think that like black women are subjected to the weirdness of this culture, and it creates some strange kind of psychological pathologies that nobody is allowed to talk about or to converse about. And I think that that's tragic as well. So we can hear decades and decades of not only academic research that kind of, you know, talks about the pathologies of black men and how fucked up they are, but as soon as we say anything about how black women are also psychologically and conditionally impacted by this system, the first thing we do is we get reduced to pussyless misogynoirs who are gonna like create some sort of death culture around black women. That's fucking ridiculous. But that's just me. That's my opinion about it. I think that anybody should be amenable to critique. I don't think anybody is exempt from the chopping block of being assessed and to being evaluated in relation to their behavior, especially if you feel like you, like Waiting to Exhale, Color Purple, Combahee River Collectives, intersectionality theory that calls out black men for being pathological in a variety of different ways. As soon as we say, hey, look, lean a little bit closer now. Roses don't smell like boo-boo either, especially yours, lady. There's some pathologies you've been subjected to and that you got some demons you need to exorcise in the same manner as you say that black men need to. But we can't talk about it because we created a culture in which women are wonderful. They're innocent. They're virtuous. The implicit nature of their victimhood prevents them from being perceived as agents of pathology. And that's my only thing. Like, at the end of the day, I don't believe that black people are cursed outside of the context of their conditioning. But I believe that we need to have black women just as much as black men be knowledgeable about how to create healthy children, how to create healthy relationships, and not to just dump all the pathology on the one demographic. But they borrow from the playbook of these women's dichotomy between what's bourgeois, what's proletarian, related to some shit that they created to really obstruct racial progress. And now we have to like try to filter through the wheat and the chaff to get at what the truth is. And it creates so many fucking problems. I'm not saying it's insurmountable, but the narrative has to be pushed back against. And I said it before. This is why I always try to, use these disclaimers, even though I know you don't like them. But I try to use them because I do agree with people like Curry who don't think that the relationship between black men and black women has to be the way that it is. I think it is the way that it is because of the compartmentalization, the kind of balkanization that this culture tries to create for us. It's just like I'm not saying I exactly agree with a person like Shahrazad Ali on every score, but I do understand it. Like she, along with like people like Brenda Werner and like people like Marimba Ani and people like Frances Cress Welsing, they understand that these conditions are artificial. They didn't develop in a way in which, and BGS talks about this as well, like the conditions in which the relationship between black men and women has evolved has been unnatural. So it's warped. But to dump it all on men, black men in particular, by some sort of moral deficit that they have because they just want to be powerful and control black women and just beat the shit out of them if they can't, with their dicks or whatever kind of fantasies they draw up. Look at what the fuck y'all are doing. We got data on what both sexes are doing. We have like decades of data on what both people are doing. So don't just say that we're doing some fucking foul shit. Everybody is doing some foul shit because we live in foul conditions that weren't, meant to, lead to our development as healthy, functioning, flourishing people. So, at the end of the day, bro, I'm gonna leave you with the last word because you are you ain't a guest. You really family. So I'm gonna leave, and I know you gotta go. So, speak your piece, my brother, and then you can go ahead and sign on out.
No, I was just gonna address what you said earlier about that hierarchy of masculinity thing, and I'm gonna need a link for that. Because that's a concept that I came up with some years back. And I haven't seen what you're talking about by whatever professor wrote it, and somebody in the chat jokingly said, am I claiming plagiarism? No, I'm not. I think that two people can have the same idea independently. But what I was illustrating in what I call the hierarchy of masculinity is when it came to dating, when I said that black men at the top of the hierarchy of masculinity, and I would say at the bottom I think Asian women and Asian men at the bottom, and I said men date down the hierarchy and women date up the hierarchy, right? If everything being equal, right? So income and all those other things you control for all of that, all those things being equal. But I created this hierarchy across racial demographics and across genders, the same way that you're talking about. So it kind of bugs me out that you're saying that this exists, because I came up with this shit years ago, and I've said it on a few streams of mine, and maybe on some streams where I appeared on some other people's channels about this hierarchy of masculinity. It's there. So motherfuckers, I'm capping if they want to, but it's there, right? But yeah, that just bugs me out. So I definitely need to get a look at that. But
I'm gonna have to dig for it too. And I'm upset at myself for not being able to get right to it like right now.
No, it's all good. We got time for that. But that's all the shorts, right? Or were there more?
Yeah, that's it. So
just to comment on what you said about old girl, talking about, they for some reason, these women, and these black women, the ones that talk like her, right? They're talking about, white adjacent, when they're the ones speaking as if Zaddy is gonna come to their rescue over some shit we're talking about them, right? Not only that, one thing I want people to understand about when we talk about slavery and we talking about the house Negro, right? That nobody ever says, because anytime we say house Negro, we think of some black man. But who was in the house? In these plantations, who was in the house? Somebody tell me, who was in the house? I would argue that there were more black women in the house than black men.
Hey. Being the nigga that I am. Me being the nigga I am. I found it. Masculinization is a necessary condition of anti-black racism. So the people who published this is Stuart Coles, Josh Pasek. Intersectional invisibility revealed how group prototypes lead to the erasure and exclusion of black women. Transnational issues in psychological science. I can't really, I think 6:4, 2020. 314 to pages 324. So ultimately, it's a two-dimensional solution of dissimilarity of 8 demographic groups. It says, see the online article for the color version of this figure. But I mean, ultimately, the masculinity, femininity scale runs on, I think that's the x-axis, up and down. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's the y-axis.
Yeah,
I'm not. Okay, so it's the
y-axis.
Y-axis.
The sky.
Okay, yeah, okay. So the x-axis is horizontal, and it talks about, as you can see, masculinity is down at the bottom, okay? Femininity is high up. And black men fall to the lowest point of this axis. Now, men in general are, of course, they're going to be on the masculinity scale, further to the x-axis than women. But I mean, white women are held at the highest point of the femininity axis, they favor highly in the grid. And then the black and white, is the x-axis. So there's a deficit related to blackness and masculinity in terms of innocence, virtue, and all of the like, right? Now, black women, they aren't above white people, which is telling because, I mean, like in general, black women fall under the white people masculinity scale. Like you're perceived as more masculine than most white people.
Right.
Even, I mean, but white men in general are going to be perceived as more masculine than black women, but not very much. Like you're almost, in their eyes, you're almost as masculine as white men.
Yeah, this chart is a little different from mine because it only deals with white and black people. White women, black, white women, white men, black women, and black men, right? What I was dealing with was basically, because I mean, unless you're gonna show me something that has all the races on it, like, what I was illustrating is all the races, like your Latinas, your Asians, all your demographics in America, and who is perceived as more masculine. And I had black men at the top, and I had Asian women at the bottom. And my point was that men tend to date down that hierarchy, and women tend to date up, right? So with Asian women at the bottom, right, who in this society, they're seen as the most feminine of all women, above Latina women, above black women, and above white women even though that white women are celebrated, supposed to be the most beautiful, blah, blah, blah. If you look at the numbers, white men are flocking to Asian and Latina women, because even white women in this society right now are more masculine than those two other demographics. It's just what it is.
But right? This is what I will say. I do believe that Asian women are perceived as being more feminine, and especially if they are not, especially. So, I mean, there's a lot that you could add to a scale like this. Like you could add Western, or I think better yet, you could develop Western nations, right? You could add that in there. You could add all of the races in there. You could add undeveloped countries where there's more traditional understandings of masculinity and femininity, like in Asia, or like in Latin America, or like elsewhere in the world, in Africa. I mean, like you could add so much to a list a hierarchical scale like this. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but the scale I created was pretty much for North America, right? So, I mean, that might change, with all those factors that you're factoring in. But, my scale was pretty much for North America and how dating works. It wasn't really about this is about something else, right? This is masculinization as a necessary condition of anti-black racism, which wasn't what my shit was based on. And it wasn't limited to black and white people. I was basically looking at dating apps and shit like that as a way of describing who was perceived as more masculine across genders and across demos, and who tends to date who when it comes to men searching for feminine women and women searching for masculine men. I put the Asian man, well, at least not, I don't want to say Asian in reference to Indian men, but Asians, like your Chinese, your men like that, your Japanese men. I put those men at the bottom on the scale of masculinity in terms of who women search for when they're looking for what they perceive as masculine, right? And under them is their women, because they are more masculine than their women, huh?
I got another funny clip that didn't make the cut for today. I'm gonna show it and then I'm gonna close out. I'm gonna have to jump off. Yeah. So look, I think you want to stick around at least for this though, if I can find it relatively quickly. I think I should be able to find it. Maybe I deleted it. Maybe I didn't. Because sometimes I just delete shit like a dummy.
You gotta have a tab. I got a tab with all these studies on it. Anytime somebody want to see them, I got my research tab. Now everything that you post up, or I find, all that shit goes on my research tab. All that shit them links get saved, man. I don't, Well,
so look, let me share this shit. This is a white woman talking. She looks like she could be Greek or some shit like that. Erica Spera. So I don't know it might be Italian. I don't fucking know. But this is.
She looks, either one.
I just don't know. But anyway, look, this is what she has to say. We started.
I can't speak for everybody, but for me, I think the biggest difference between white dudes and black dudes were the compliments. Yeah. I don't know if you dated a black guy, but if you dated a white one, they give the worst compliments I've ever heard in my life. Just terrible hype men, Like any white dude I dated, the best I would ever get was just, "Oh, you look nice." I'm like, what are you, my fucking dad? Come on, man, I tried, Black dudes are so good at compliments, they can take something you hate about yourself and make you love it. That's a skill. You can just show up and they'll be like, girl, that's cellulite? I'm like, stop. All right, you're making me blush. I can't speak.
And a little of that has to do with the sexualization of black men to some degree.
Or that black men have been groomed in the art of worshiping women.
Yeah.
We have the most practice. It's black women are the Joseph Jacksons of training motherfuckers to worship women for real. You better worship these bitches. You better worship that.
You better tell me my feet look good, nigga. With them corns on that motherfucker.
Worship me.
Oh man, you crazy, man. You said Joseph Jackson.
They are the Joseph Jacksons.
The Ike Turner motherfucking bitch. You better tell me, but you better tell me I look good, nigga.
That's right. Call me God. My name is God.
That's funny, man. But I mean, look, I mean, it's tongue in cheek. But I mean, ultimately, black men are among the most progressive demographic of men as it pertains to gender equality, and not only that, in sexual equality. That's just it's been recorded
because Joe Jackson. We have Michael Jackson level talent and skill at worshiping women. We can moonwalk over a bitch when it comes to worshiping and giving them compliments and making sure that their needs are met We are the kings of pop in that regard.
But you know what? If that's the case, man, black women are quite fucking lousy at it, bro. Even the motherfuckers they love, or say they love, they're fucking lousy at it, man. Like, don't know how to say, hey, you are that nigga. I rock with you. I fuck with you. There was a video recently out here about like different men in different countries and how they perceive like marriage and what they'll be dedicating themselves to. That's another. I wish I would have found that fucking clip and played it for the day, but I won't show it. I'll show it at the next Short Bus Saturday. I definitely would show it then. But it's like black women in this country are like, nigga, you want me to obey you? Like, I literally have a cousin in Chicago who wife, when he got to the altar, you know what I'm saying, with her, and, the pastor said, obey, she like, fuck it, I'm not, no.
No, they're the Michael Jacksons of disrespect. Understand this, right?
Hey, man, my cousin, man, let me just say this before you say that. My cousin, Nick, this nigga, you can say, this is a Chicago, like, he's the perfect embodiment of, like, King Von type nigga. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I mean, like, nigga, I'm gangster, Chicago gangster type nigga. You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, in our community, we, not for better or worse, that's the embodiment of what masculinity is, being some sort of super thug type nigga. For good or bad. That's the perception. He's all that shit. And this chick was like, nigga, I still ain't listening to you, motherfucker. I ain't got to listen to your ass, nigga. Fuck you. The nigga spent all this money on the wedding, all that shit. He was like, man, fuck that bitch. Know what I'm saying? Fuck her. Couldn't say, I will perceive you as the leader of this unit. No. I'm the leader of this unit, because they really actually believe that they are the leader of the unit. They believe that they should be in charge. Even if they're, I can see if the power was shared, or, like some, you got a certain area of competency or whatever the case may be. The other person has an area of competency. That's not how it's perceived. The perception is, I am unbowed to anyone. I'm God, nigga. I'm God. Not with the OD, but the AWD. I'm God in this bitch. And that's, come on, man. No human being is God, man. You can be God-like, but you ain't God. You feel me? So, closing comments, I'm about to burn this shit off.
So what I was saying was, what I want black men to understand, because we keep coming into this shit. Stop saying that the country is failing you, or the laws or the government is failing you, or that black women are struggling to respect you. I want to close out with this. Just like I said, that black men are the Michael Jacksons of kissing bitches' asses. They are the Michael Jacksons of disrespecting your ass. Don't think that they're failing to respect you. No, they're excelling at disrespecting you. That's what they were taught to do. If they were taught to respect you and they failed, then that would be true. No, they are excelling at what they were taught to do, and that is not to respect you. This country has not ever been about giving you your fair share. They are not failing at doing that. They are excelling at not. Stop thinking that you are the we the people, or the all men are created equal on those documents, because you're not. I don't give a fuck what white man agrees with your viewpoints on what they're talking about. It ain't about you, nigga. There's no country for black men. There's only plantations. I said this shit yesterday. You are on a plantation. You are either on the white man's plantation or the black woman's plantation or the conservative white man's plantation or the liberal white man's plantation. There's only plantations for you, nigga. So no, they're not failing. They're excelling. You think it's a failure because you're not benefiting. No, you're failing to benefit in a space where they're excelling not to give you shit, not to respect you. Even when you're the guy they say they want, you can't get that respect. They not struggling. They're doing exactly what they were taught to do. And as this woman on stage made a joke about, you're doing exactly what you were taught to do. Most black men were raised around women, and them women were in charge. And sometimes your sister was in charge. You couldn't talk crazy to your sister because by virtue of her having a vagina, she had authority over you. And you look at black women like they're your auntie, your grandmama, your mama. That's why you treat those women like that. It's default. It's your program. They are programmed to do the opposite. No matter what you do, you ain't shit. And no matter what they do, they are the queen. They are the queen no matter what. That's what Umar says, right? No matter what they do, she's still a black queen. And no matter what you do, you still a motherfucking nigga. That's all I have to say.
All right, peep it. We ain't going to comment on this. We just going to show it, and then we're going to be out. Let me see if I can make it a little bigger. No, I'm just going to leave it right where it is, man. I'm going to leave it where it is. I'm going to leave it where it is.
Yeah, I saw this one.
Now look at the difference between these two women.
For better,
For better,
for worse,
for worse,
for richer,
for richer,
for poorer.
for poorer.
We hit that snag about 20 times in counseling. Brill made it very clear to Jonathan, you cannot be broke. In sickness.
In sickness.
And in health.
And in health.
To love.
To love.
Cherish.
Cherish.
And to obey.
We didn't talk about that one in counseling.
We did talk about that in counseling. Yes, we did. So you want me to repeat that again? You want to just keep going?
I think we can keep going.
All right.
I'll forever submit to you, Miles. I'll forever respect you, Miles. I'll forever honor you, Miles, as the head of our home. In heaven, they hear. On earth, I declare and decree, I shall be a submissive wife unto you.
I don't know about you, but I know which one I'm willing to give my life for. Now look at the difference between these.
That's it. Say no more.
Ooh, boy.
And that nigga still got married. But that's it. I ain't saying nothing else. That's it.
I ain't saying shit about it, man. Like, hey,
100 people.
That's a lot to take in, though. That's a lot to fucking look at and to see, observe, and to know that, like, you know, typically the woman that you're bumping across will be woman one. And you, in this country, man, you are likely to never, ever get to the second one. It's just, it is what it is. Like, I will fucking honor you.
G, this is what women say. Don't tell me what to do unless you give me a ring. The bitch has a white dress on in the chapel getting married to a nigga, and she's not wanting to accept the obey. These bitches are not struggling. They are trained not to respect you. Period. That's it. That's all. We
to 3M, man, email me, and maybe perhaps if you give me the link to the video, I could understand what you're talking about. But having said all that, man, thank you guys for joining us this Saturday afternoon. I'll holler at y'all later, man. I want y'all to be peaceful, be prosperous, man, and be, you know, cool mentally, you know. Insane Optimist, shout out to you. He says, there is no country for black men, it's only plantations. Wow. So shout out to him, man.
Fucking on your bitch.
Nope. I just want to let everybody know out there, I'm free, nigga. I'll holler at y'all later.